Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Old Soul. Sorry, there's a lot of sequence before this. So,
welcome back to the Old Souls
Souls
podcast once again.
We are
two
back.
guys talking at each other.
Yeah, and right now we are across from each other rather than side by side.
And we don't have a camera.
We don't have the camera.
Somebody forgot to charge his camera.
Hey, sometimes
I left the charger at my house.
Yeah, the charger's at his house, and the battery is in the camera. I checked, so that's kind of useless. But anyway, just a little bit. But we are actually in the farm shop here at my farm.
Yeah.
And we're sitting across from the background picture, a white tractor, Field Boss. That's a running project. Speaking of projects.
Oh, God, here we go.
Let's talk about projects. That's something I wanted to talk about in the last podcast, but we didn't have time to.
It's been like, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Since the last since we recorded the last podcast.
Yeah, the last one we recorded at the end of June.
And then we said, oh, we're going to do this again in a week.
We'll do this again in a week.
And then we said, oh, we're going to do this again in a week. And then we said, oh, we're going to do this again in a week. And now we're actually doing it.
Yeah, here
finally.
we are. This is the second episode. Now, this was supposed to be recorded a lot earlier than the last one.
Like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, literally 2 weeks ago. However, there's this thing called hay. And that's a big project. I think we can talk about.
Yeah, that's probably
That's a big one. Like you wouldn't think of it in the conventional sense as like a project car or a project tractor or something like that. But it is a project. It's something that takes a large part of our lives during the summer. And
once it starts, it doesn't stop until it's done.
And when
that
it's done,
takes a long time.
Oh yeah, it takes a while. But when it's done, you feel pretty relieved at the end of it all.
And you have a little bit of money in your pocket.
Yeah, a little bit of money in
hopefully.
Pocket.
Unless a bunch of stuff breaks, which is always a possibility.
And if you ever have broken stuff, you know what that's like. Mm-hmm. Learn to fix that stuff. You can do that through.
It's much cheaper than taking it to the dealer.
So much cheaper than taking it to the dealer.
It's the way my grandpa ran stuff when when the dairy farm was still going. He said, you can learn how to do the $70 an hour work and pay somebody to do the $10 an hour work, and that's how you save money.
Yeah. That's right.
Because taking it to a dealership now is probably
it's
$150
$100 to $125 an hour if I had to guess now.
Yeah, and then if you know how to do it yourself, which we both are trying to learn,
are not only learning but we know enough to get by now.
Yeah. That's how you make and save some money at least.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, so haying this year has been pretty hectic, full of stuff for me. Of course, I'm a custom hay farmer, so I'm all over the countryside. It doesn't matter. I'm back and forth all day long.
You have a lot of small fields.
Yeah, I got a lot
spread out
of small fields
over a large amount of land.
So he's got, how many acres do you think you got farmable?
At our place?
Yeah.
38.
38 acres farmable?
Well, probably 35 farmable.
Yeah, 35.
Because of the houses and everything.
Yeah. Okay,
if my house and the house behind it and all of the buildings for the farm weren't there, it would be 40.
Yeah. Okay, so it'd be 40 acres total on the farm and then 35.
Because the whole place is 38.
Yeah.
So it's probably 35 somewhere in there.
35 farmable. Yeah, so I have 50 acres that I do. However, those 50 acres are in 2 to 5 acre chunks at a time. Yeah. And that gets pretty painful. It really makes you appreciate, especially being back here at home base right now for the short time that I am until I have to...
Until tomorrow.
Go back to haying tomorrow. It really makes you appreciate those bigger, longer, squarer fields, because...
Square fields are nice.
Yeah, you can turn around in them. You can do end rows in them.
I just finished raking a field that was like an hourglass. So there's 4 different fields. One of them's pretty square.
Yeah.
2 of them are pretty square. The other ones are like weaving back and forth. And one of them was like a triple hourglass. So it goes like this and then out and then in and then out. And then it finishes in a triangle. It's awesome. Gosh. It was really a pain to rake.
That's like a haying nightmare right there. Triple hourglass triangle.
Yeah, if you've ever raked hay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because no matter what happens, you end up with a triangle somewhere that you have to try and figure out what to do with. And when you're raking, a lot of the time that means stopping and making the baler come by and clean up that row so you can start in on the triangle again. It must be nice to have a baler following you around.
I have a baler behind me at all times. That's not actually true. A lot of the times the rate goes up there hours before.
Yeah.
But out here, there's a field very similar. It's like a very pincer hourglass. It's one Hourglass on one side.
Here?
Yeah, out here. So it's out by the haylage bales up on this road. You go to that one that we just cut, actually, with the nice grass in it. It's big and open on one side, but not really that big. That's probably not even 3 acres. I think it's 3 acres.
Mm-hmm.
It's open on one side, and then it bottlenecks down in the middle.
And
opens up a little bit on the end into a triangle. And so when you do this thing, you go around probably 2 times with our rake because it's too big. Go around 2 times, and then you have to bail it. You can't do anything else. You have to pick the rake up and just stop.
Or you could do what I do.
And at what?
Depending on how big the field is, I go around like 4 or 5 times just to make enough room.
Yeah.
And then I'll just pick the rake up and turn around before I get to the stuff that I just raked.
Yeah.
And leave a little bit on the end and then just come back and clean it up because I almost never have a baler following me.
Well, the thing is, so if you're listening to this and have a 3-point mounted rake, you heard that and was like, yeah, that's pretty sensible. That's what I do. I have a tow bar rake, and this tow bar rake is massive. It's a V rake. It's several feet wide, and it can't it has lift cylinders on all sides. It can lift, but it can't lift high enough.
Oh, so it just drags everything
So it just drags the hay around. So with that one, we do have to have a baler following, but with the 3-point mounted Citrix style rake, we don't. That one's kind of handy.
Those are nice in small fields.
It makes, the problem is, and you notice how he said small fields.
Because
big fields, they're a very small rake. I mean,
trust me, I know.
The rows they make are probably, I don't know, 3 feet wide.
Depends on how thick the hay is.
Yeah, it depends on how thick the hay is.
I will say they make a very nice fluffy windrow.
Yeah, the windrow they make is nice.
But they only rake, I don't know, 6 feet at a time.
Of hay, if that, yeah. They're not for high production. They're for lower production, smaller fields.
You want a single rotary
some kind of a single rotary
like
rake
a crone.
nice, like a crone. Our rake is excessive, but that's because of the size of our fields.
What kind of rake do you have?
That R24, that yellow thing up there.
What model? What brand?
Vermeer R24A V rake. It's a really nice rake, and you would think
you must have got a good one.
What?
Vermeer rotary rake.
And rakes. Yeah, it's not a rotary. It's a V.
Oh, right.
So it's
right.
A roll-a-bar. I was going to get into this too, but usually a roll-a-bar makes a rope.
Oh, a rope maker. Okay.
But however, it's 2 roll-a-bars, so it actually doesn't make a rope. It actually makes a nice clean windrow. I really like that rake. We've had that one.
Maybe their roll-a-bar rakes are better.
I think their roll-a-bars are better.
Rotary rakes.
New Holland's roll-a-bars are where it gets a little bit.
I would not buy a rotary Vermeer rake.
No, that's the same thing that we said, I think. I wouldn't buy a Vermeer Tedder.
I would buy a crone like we have.
Yeah, if you were to get a rotary rake with, I would get a crone or something like that.
They make everything on there is heavy duty. Everything.
Yeah, they're super heavy, and also they're just nice rakes.
Yeah,
they pick everything up.
They do a really good job.
If I was to get a single rotor rake, that is where I would go.
Well, Captain Shorts loves that new rake.
Oh, he loves that.
He loves that.
Now we can't mention names, but we can mention nicknames. That's for sure.
Yeah, we have to come up with nicknames for everybody.
Captain Shorts. We
both knew who that is.
We know who that is. Anyway, yeah, he's got a he just bought a Krone Swadro.
Swadro 38
model.
T. That means trail, I think, or toe behind. Because it's a toe behind.
It's a toe behind.
Ours is just a 38, and then his is a T.
3-point, and his is a T. So this is
my grandpa's so jealous he wants one. So
are the trail behinds? Do they make a nicer row, or are they about the same?
They're about the same.
Okay. Is it? I wonder if it's nicer to have it for corners and stuff.
It is. He let me rake with it the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I've raked with both of them.
That new tractor he's got too.
That thing is awesome.
That is a nice tractor. That's that 380. So he bought at a farm auction, local farm auction, and if you're from the state of Washington, Shayless Livestock Market is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And he bought out of that auction a really, really nice low hour International 385. Mm-hmm. This tractor is.
It's gorgeous.
It is mint. Everything
looks brand new.
All the paint on it is original. Everything, all the parts on it are original, and the paint's barely even worn off of anything.
Yeah,
that's a good looking tractor.
Mm-hmm. That's even the step.
Yeah,
there's still paint on the step.
There's still paint on the step, and you get on and off those things all the time. And I'm looking right now over at this white, and you can see rust on the edges and stuff forming on the steps from where the bare metal was worn away, which
is pretty common.
That's pretty common, and that tractor. that doesn't.
Yeah, even the running boards, like there was
yeah.
no paint gone off the run. It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful tractor. And
it's under 1,000 hours, I think.
Yeah, it is. It's
which is ridiculous.
I thought it was like 800 when he bought it. Or
That's like our 3930.
Yeah,
it was under. It was like I want to say like 850 when we bought it. It's still. It just rolled over 1,000, I think.
I'm assuming everything on that's pretty.
Oh yeah,
pretty nice.
That's a nice tractor too.
Yeah, I like
loud old Ford 3-cylinder.
The old Ford 3-cylinders clattering away. We've got a few of those.
That 385 is a 3-cylinder too.
Yeah,
I was surprised how much torque it has because his top field is like a 45-degree angle up.
Big angle, yeah.
I didn't even do anything to it. I wasn't running it at PTO RPM either. It was just like 1,500, just nice, easy speed.
Yeah,
was doing a good job, and then up that hill, no problem. It just sat there and took it. And I was surprised. It was a torquey little 3-cylinder.
Those International engines have a fair amount of torque in them.
International made a good
pretty good tractor.
I was actually reading about that. What happened to International?
Oh, were you?
Yeah. I read the Wikipedia page about it. Huh. They, I don't know what the word is. Elected, I guess, a new CEO.
Right. Yeah.
In the late 70s.
Yeah.
And basically he cheaped everything out.
Yep.
And then they gave him a giant bonus.
Mm-hmm. And that was,
and then everything
the workers
went
on
downhill.
strike. Well, because the workers saw the bonus.
Let me just pull it up.
Yeah, you can pull it up.
Facts.
What I heard was they elected that new CEO. He put a bunch of cheap parts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gave himself a big bonus.
No, the board gave him.
The board gave him a big bonus. Sorry, and
which is just stupid because
ridiculous. And then the workers went on strike.
Nobody at the top should ever. The people. The minions, is what they would call them, I guess.
The people working for
the workers,
the tractors,
the guys in the factory on the floor every day doing the same thing every day.
Yeah,
those are the guys that get the bonuses in my mind.
Yeah, the guys at the top, they're not. They're just sitting there.
They're already getting a bunch of money.
They're getting a ton of money from these workers working, and then the tractors kind of sell themselves after a while to customers and stuff like that. So, yeah, and then there was something in there about the workers went on strike after that. And everything just started to go down.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah, he's going to pull it up real quick.
It's I was looking for the number because it cost them a lot of money, the strike.
Oh, yeah. It was a big number.
Let's see.
It's pretty sad because right around that era was when at least two of my favorite tractors were built. The 86 and the 66 series and the 50s. And before that, the 56 and the 06 and 26 series. The muscle tractors. Those were good tractors. They had tons of power. They were on a light-ish, not super light. They're pretty heavy duty, but they were on a lighter frame.
International made everything heavy.
Oh yeah, they overbuilt their small stuff.
Well, we have Fords from I think the 61 is a 50 horse.
Yeah.
And the International is a 72, and it's also a 50 horse, but it's got to weigh 2,000 pounds more than the other one.
Yeah, if you look at the steel. The frames on those things.
The cast iron is just ridiculous.
The R66 series, I remember looking at it for the first time. And my cousin says the same thing. He's down in Nebraska, and he owned for a while for his project tractor a Ford 9600 or a Ford 9000.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It was a cab tractor. And he told me when he was looking at that tractor, the frame rails and stuff, he said, these things are just not built as heavy as the big Internationals are. I mean, you can look at the frame rails, and they got to be like a half-inch thick on those big tractors. I mean, it's not. But yeah, it's a pretty sad story.
I'm looking for it, I swear.
he's trying to find out how technology works. It's all right. But yeah, no, that whole Navistar thing too came in there somewhere. That was I don't know when that was.
I can't remember where it was.
He's pulling up the Wikipedia.
I'm on Wikipedia.
He's on there right now.
Downfall. There it is.
Oh, we found it.
Named a new CEO, Archie McCardell.
Okay.
Who was determined to improve profit margins and drastically cut costs. There we go.
That's where the downfall of a lot of products.
Unprofitable lines were terminated and factory production was curtailed. By the end of the year, profits were at their highest levels in 10 years, but cash reserves were still low. The union members became increasingly irate over these measures in the spring of '79, and they prepared to face a strike. On November 1st, International Harvester announced McCardell had received a $1.8 million bonus.
Ooh.
While his employees were struggling.
Employees were getting ready to go on strike, by the way.
After he pressed for more concessions from the United Auto Workers, a strike was called on November 2nd, 1979. By the time it ended, the strike had cost the company almost $600 million.
Oh.
Over $1 billion today.
$1 billion today. I was going to say that's in 1980.
Like a year.
Yeah.
Not even that. I don't know when the strike ended, but
$600 million.
That's a lot of money.
In that year's money, by the way.
Yeah. Over $1 billion today. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot for a company to tank. And especially a tractor company. Tractor companies are not like automakers. Automakers have a lot of money. Now, especially.
Yeah.
Tractor makers never did and still do not today.
Especially not International because they built everything so well. You never had to buy a new one.
You never had to buy a second one. I saw this post somewhere. It was like, why haven't we heard any good songs about Internationals lately? And I thought in my head, it's because we only needed one good song like our tractors. We only need one good tractor to get us through.
Yep.
We have that song by Craig Morgan, International Harvester. Yep. We only need one good one.
Yeah.
It's going to get us through. We don't need more about green.
There's no songs about Ford tractors, though.
Yeah, I know. That's
even though like they made 10 million tractors.
Well, yeah, and they were like the birth of a lot of modern tractor amenities. Well, yeah. The 8N and the 2N series and stuff like that were the birth of a lot of modern tractor amenities. And you don't hear about them. I mean, you see them.
Henry Ford stole the 3-point system from Harry Ferguson.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't talk about that part. That was a little... Ooh.
We don't need to talk about that. It's fine.
Well, if you go back in history, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that was hostile.
Stolen?
No, yeah, stolen and hostile. I'm trying to think. So Kenworth, 1923, I think it was. Kenworth had logging land, and Weyerhaeuser, the Weyerhaeuser originals, the guys, came in and did a hostile takeover. Performed a hostile takeover of Kenworth's logging land.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was, I forget the guy's name.
That sounds like something that they would do.
The guy's name wasn't Kenworth. It was Gerlinger was his last name. And he was the founder or the idea guy behind Kenworth. Anyway, yeah, stuff like that happened back in history. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah, and then the patents and stuff came around. And
then everybody started backing off a little,
kind of straightening
a little bit.
A little bit. It still happens today, but
every tractor brand's got their little quirks and stuff that's better than
others and
other
stuff.
Things.
Like, because like the Fords, they're just a nice tractor to drive.
They last forever.
And they last a long time. Internationals are the same way. They last a long time, but the thing about Internationals is they're heavy. That's
very, very heavy.
They're very heavy, and they're built that way.
Ford, at least in the 60s, had more torque in their engines than International did.
Yeah.
Because, it's different because it's 10 years apart.
Yeah, but it also depends on the model. Because in the 60s, the 06 series was around the muscle tractor. And that I like to think of that as the dawn of the muscle tractor.
Yeah.
It was the 06 series. Because I know there's some guys that are going to say, what about the John Deere 6030? I don't really care. I'm just going to be totally brutally honest with you. We're IH and Ford.
And this white that you found in the bushes.
Right here, this white sitting beside me in the bushes is, I keep, staring at it. And
it's not a bad looking tractor.
I suppose I could get into that too. There is another brand. There's another brand that people don't talk about. It's white.
Yeah.
Yeah. White's been around longer than you think. I don't know. I'm going to pull up the history on this because this is pretty cool. But
I'll talk about what I was.
Whoops. Yes, continue.
Don't punch your microphone. That's not good for it.
I know.
Oh, yeah. So our 61, we have it's an 801 Selecto Speed Ford.
Yeah.
Could be different, too, because the International is a Hydro, but we have a 72 International 544 Hydro.
Yeah.
The PTO RPM on the Ford, I think, is like 16 or 1700.
Yeah.
And the International is like 22.
Yeah, and that's, what's funny about that?
It might be because it's a Hydro.
Seems like they've always been that way.
Yeah, International's always had higher.
That one up there, the 1066, which is a regular transmission, has a 2200-ish RPM PTO speed.
What year is that?
73.
73. So there's again a 2 years or 10 years difference, roughly. But like our TW10, the 540, because ours has that's another thing I like about Internationals is they have both shafts.
Yeah.
You don't have to switch anything.
The independent PTO system is what it's called. Yeah.
But on a Ford, I like the older ones where the snap ring.
Yeah.
You just pull the snap ring out,
You know how long they did that for? They did that snap ring system all the way up to the Genesis series.
Yeah.
That's a 95 and it has the snap ring.
Well, then Fiat took over, and that was their idea. That's why those Then you have to take the whole back end of the tractor apart to get to the front of those bolts.
Yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, race car guy, what tractor does he have?
Oh, he has a. That's right. So, Fiat took over, and then they added the 3-bolt system where you torque it down, and then eventually, no matter how hard you try, it strips the bolts out. And you got to take the whole back end of the tractor.
That's
like
dumb.
we just did that to ours. Take the back end of the tractor off, and it weighs a lot. You have to take the bolts out and put the new ones in, just for 3 bolts. And then you put it all back together, and then it's going to happen again. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
His new tractor is a PowerStar 120, and it has a snap ring.
Huh.
So they went back to
They
Ford's.
went back to the Ford snap ring, which was, again, the last ones must have been in 95 or... So that one's the first of the Genesis series. The last ones were in 2001, I believe. Yeah, those are a pretty good tractor, and I like the snap ring system. I don't like the bolt system. That sounds like a whole lot more hassle than it should have to be.
I mean, it's not that much. It's just an impact, but
Yeah,
the taking it apart that for just 3 bolts.
Yeah,
is
that's
a waste of time. It
that's
should
dumb.
just be the snap ring because it's easier.
Yeah, so that's dumb. But
Yep.
you want to talk about a tractor brand not many people talk about.
There you go. Have fun with your white.
All right, it's white time. So sitting beside me is a white 2-105, which that stands for two-wheel drive, obviously, 105 horsepower, obviously. Actually, some people might not know that, so there you go. If you see a white 2-105, that means two-wheel drive, 105 PTO.
So would that mean a 4-wheel drive would be a 4?
4. And you know what the four-wheel drives were? Articulated. They did not make...
That's weird.
They were bigger. They were articulated tractors.
That's
4-280 something. A lot of them were 200 horsepower plus, four-wheel drives. Big ones. Yeah, they didn't make a whole lot of four-wheel drive regular row crop tractors, it seems like. But we're about to talk. Actually, they did. Here's one, a white 6085. That's European, so that's different. I give that a different classification.
A little bit.
But yeah, let's see here. WFE has now been discontinued, obviously. It was bought by AGCO before it was discontinued. White Farm Equipment.
That answers that question. That's what I was gonna ask.
WFE, White Farm Equipment. They have a really cool, very 80s inspired logo, but these tractors aren't actually from the... If you see a picture of a Field Boss, a white Field Boss, you might think, man, that looks like an 80s tractor because of the way it looks. The squared off windows and the silver paint.
I like the way that looks.
Yeah, they just have a sleek look to them. Well, this one's actually a 76.
Really?
Same year. This would have been the last year in International for the 66 series. And those tractors, by that point, those tractors were still in style, and these were a little bit ahead of their time, and they didn't... It seems like they didn't really sell as well.
When did they get bought out by AGCO?
AGCO, we're going to get right into that, actually. They started, so in the 60s, early 60s, 1960, actually. White entered the agriculture market because they purchased Oliver Farm Equipment.
Oh.
And acquired Cockshut. So the Cockshut and Oliver, the two brands that are together. I know it's a funny name. The second Cockshut's always been a funny name. There's nobody that can not laugh when they see one of those for sale.
I wonder, is that somebody's name?
Yeah, it's
Must
a name.
be.
It's
I
a really
figured.
unfortunate name, but it's a name.
I was going to say nobody would willingly name their tractor brand
that. But it...
Anyway.
Oliver and Cockshut were both bought by White, and then in 1963, White purchased Minneapolis Moline. Now, the reason I think White had all this money was because White didn't start out as a tractor brand.
That's the only way to make money in farming.
White built trucks. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
White built semi-trucks. They did partnerships with Western Star. They did
Volvo.
That was the last one they did. Or close to the last one they did. And then they did Freightliner, I think, too. Yeah, White Freightliners. And then they made their own trucks, obviously. They made the White Road Boss in the Boss series. And I do want to own one just so I can haul a white Field Boss with a white Road Boss. Cause I think that
Why am I
cool.
not surprised?
It would be cool to just paint one up silver or something like that.
You know what we should do?
What?
One day?
What?
Since you have such an obsession with two-strokes.
Yeah.
We should find a truck with a two-stroke, paint it up all nice.
Yeah.
And then find a way to put a two-stroke in a tractor.
In a white.
Put like a 671
Here's my
in.
plan. Not just a 671.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I've always wanted to build a pulling tractor with a two-stroke in it. As of yesterday. Anyway. No, so I know somebody that does tractor pulls. And it's my cousin down in Nebraska. And I've always thought, it'd be cool to build my own. The way
Why don't you just buy his?
Well, this is expensive.
You have money.
In Nebraska. It's too far away. There's a tractor pull in Ethel, actually, coming up. Ethel. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I've always wanted to see if I could put a two-stroke in a tractor, and I think it's a 1292, so a 12V92 in a bigger white Field Boss.
Mm-hmm. Like this?
Painted silver. Like the engine's painted silver, like a silver 92.
Like the
tractor, and it's got the silver 92.
Or you could just find a silver 92.
Yeah, you could probably fit a silver 92, but I'd be afraid it didn't have enough horsepower for what I want to do.
Okay.
Because an 8V92 only makes 435, and then if you mess with them, you can get pretty far, but you can get further with a 12.
I wonder if you'd have to cut the hood anywhere to fit it in there.
Oh, I'm sure you would. But it'd look kind of cool if you found a way to do it, I think. You just get one that's not quite like this. You need one that's a little bit more donor tractor-ish.
Like no engine, no transmission.
And no well, you could probably find a way to mate that transmission to it.
Well, yeah, but you were talking earlier about the
over-under.
Clutch packs and stuff.
The over-under clutch packs.
I don't think that would work.
Well, they made ones without that system.
Oh.
They did make ones with just an adapter plate and a clutch that went right in front of that. So
that's probably better.
If I could find one of those and put a 12V92 in it, that would be, I think, the way.
Someday when we have money.
Yeah.
If we ever have money.
2 stacks. 2 turbos and 2 stacks. That's what it has to have.
There you go.
2.
That would sound amazing.
Oh, yeah. 2 turbos and then the stacks on each side. I can picture this in my head. That would be amazing. But anyway, sidetrack, the history of White. So, yeah, White started out, I think, as a truck company. They might have started out as something before that, but in 1960.
You have the page open.
I
Just
do.
Look at
in 1960, White Motor Company, which is what they were called, entered the agriculture market. And they bought a bunch of old, essentially dying out tractor producers. So Minneapolis Moline, all over the likes. Cockshut. You gotta mention Cockshut because it's funny.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah. And then they all merged into White Farm Equipment. And we're building the tractors in Oak Brook, Illinois. And their headquarters remained in Cleveland, so White Motor Company stayed.
They're kind of forgotten. I mean, like,
nobody talks about it.
If there wasn't one sitting here, I would forget
that. It's one of those tractors where I don't think about them. If
you should tell the story of how you got this.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that in a second. After I go across this, so the Field Boss. This is interesting. Field Boss is the silver tractors. Okay, interesting.
You like that one?
In 1975. Oliver, and they were all folded into the White brand. The green, red, and yellow of the 3 brands that were combined was replaced by just one, the silver color, for the Field Boss tractors, according to a Wikipedia article.
So this was really like the first conglomeration.
This is 76. I didn't realize this, but 76, that must be one of the first early white tractors.
This was like the first conglomeration of dying companies somebody bought. Like
White Motor Company bought these dying companies. It started
dying, and then Agco bought it, just like everything else.
Yeah, so here's some unexperienced company talk. I'm not experienced with company stuff, but if I was to own a company, I don't know that I'd buy struggling brands to hope that I could fix all 3 of them.
No, that seems like a money pit.
Yeah, because it appears that White didn't succeed because you don't hear about them today.
No.
For one. And for 2, even though they have pretty good engine and transmission combos for the most part, they're pretty good.
They have a good engine.
Yeah, the Perkins engine that's in this one, it's a 5.8, is a really good engine as far as I'm aware. I mean, it drove out of the bushes, and I'll get to that in a second. But
I couldn't believe that story.
No, I couldn't either, and that's why we will bring it up on the podcast in a second here. It's pretty amazing, but it's back to what he was saying. You'd forget about these.
Yeah, like you never hear about it
unless it's in front of your eyes like it is right now.
They're actually pretty good looking.
They're a cool looking track. I like the headlight ones.
Do they have headlights?
So the next, I don't know if it was the next year or if you had to have an option or something like that, but they did normally have headlights up there on the top. I think
that would look better.
They do look a lot better. They have square headlights. They're kind of a cool look, sleek. But yeah, this one's headlightless. This just has the headlights on the fenders. But
anyway,
back to White, really quick.
Yeah,
we'll get into
Don't worry, we got plenty of time.
We've got plenty of time. So this is interesting. That did not last very long. Okay, that's kind of sad. Well, it's not really sad, but it kind of tells you what I'm about to say. Kind of tells you that
it wasn't a good idea to begin with.
They were starting to struggle pretty early, I think. So in 75, they made that. That's when they started the Field Boss line. That's a 76, so that's very, very, very early. And then the Field Boss models all make sense. It's drive and horsepower.
I like simple numbers like that.
Drive dash horsepower. So you got like 4 210, 4 180, 2 105, 2 85, all the way up to looks like 2 155. They have a two. They had a bigger one too. And then they had tractors, combines, lawn tractors. So I actually saw a white lawn tractor pop up on Facebook Marketplace.
Huh.
I really kind of wanted it because
you know what we should do?
What?
We should get a Ford. I have a Cub Cadet already.
Yeah, so that's basically international.
Ford International case, John Deere, white. Just try and find
all the little mini tractors and line them up. That would be cool. It was really cheap too. It was like $250 or $300 for.
You want to know how much I paid for my Cub Cadet?
I don't.
$300.
That's pretty good.
Captain Shorts.
Yeah.
It was his neighbor.
Captain Shorts.
It was an estate sale.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he knew the guy.
It's one of the old yellow ones, right? Yellow and white.
Yellow and white. Yeah.
Those are good.
I got that. I got the mower deck. I got a blade, a rock rake, like a tow behind rock rake.
Oh, really?
And then a tiller. Rototiller. Yeah.
I bought a lot of lawnmowers in my time. That's a pretty good deal.
That is a really good deal.
I bought a lot of lawnmowers.
That's back when 10 horsepower meant 10 horsepower.
Yeah, that's what.
And that was torque.
Yeah. No, I've bought a lot of lawnmowers in the past. Those are my favorite. The Cub Cadets and the Sears Craftsmans are my favorite too.
I wish it was a hydro. That's my only complaint.
Yeah, well,
but it's a 3-speed.
The 3-speeds are tough though.
Yeah,
I mean
like that thing will.
Oh yeah.
Even with
and like we're going off topic again, but we do this a lot.
Squirrel.
My chain of thinking for lawnmowers is very different. Like he's thinking practical. It can mow and stuff. My thinking is, how bulletproof is it that it can go through a mud hole? And those Cub Cadets are high up on my list.
Are they?
Yeah, those 3-speeds are good.
I kind of want to restore that too. That'd
look
cool.
good.
I mean, it looks pretty good the way it is, but
beige white. Oh, it looks so good.
Anyway,
yeah, my lawnmowers are a little different.
Squirrel.
I bought a lot of lawnmowers. One of them is over there. It's a Sears Craftsman from '93. It has a turbo on the front of it. Yeah. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff to lawnmowers in my time. I grew out of lawnmowers and grew into tractors and stuff like that. So
just don't turn this one up because you'll blow the transmission out.
Oh, this one's staying the way it is. This is a bone stock.
It'll be nice once you got it to the point where the air conditioning works and it doesn't smell like rat pee.
Oh yeah, we'll take care of that. Yeah, that's another thing. It's full of rat's nests in the top ventilation system.
It smells amazing.
It smells absolutely wretched inside. But we're getting there.
Febreze, my friend.
Oh, we're going to put, those ozone bombs that they sell at like O'Reilly's?
Yeah.
We're going to clean the top side of that thing out and throw a couple of those in the vent system.
And then turn the fan on.
Turn the fan on and put some in the cab and really just get it done. Well, so here it says, oh, wow.
Uh-oh. That's always good.
They spun out real quick. So in 79, it says, White Motors spun its agriculture division to a Texas firm. So they already started outsourcing the work. They spun off its agriculture division to a Texas firm called TIC. The white line was rebranded to WFE. This is when the red stripe ones of these came out, where it had the red stripes on the side. Mm-hmm. I believe it's around that time.
Those are pretty.
Those are cool looking tractor. WFE.
You should get those stripes and put it on this.
That look good. But you got to take the badges off because the badges are different. I think they're stickers when they go to that one. I don't know.
Cheap.
Yeah, I like the badges.
Just like International.
Yeah, International went to stickers real fast. Yeah, and then it hit us. So it says here in the early 1980s, the agriculture market hit a severe recession. That's what it says, word for word. And that's true. And they sold WFE to Allied. The people that make front loaders for Fords.
Oh.
That Allied.
Oh.
They sold them to Allied first.
Okay.
And you know who Allied owned New Idea?
Oh, yeah.
And New Idea was producing... This is another interesting fact. New Idea produced a lot of stuff that was not built by them originally, but was like old plants. Because New Idea produced the 445 International baler under a different number.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that probably means it was a New Idea and International used it.
Maybe.
Like that Ford mower we have, the 535, is a New Idea.
Really?
The Massey Ferguson, New Idea, and Ford are all the same. It's just a New Idea with different paint on it.
That's weird. Because that connects back to Agco, Massey Ferguson and White and all that. Yeah, we'll get so Massey Ferguson is right here.
But that was like in the 50s.
White combines were sold to Massey Ferguson.
Really?
It says it right here. The white combine line was sold to Massey Ferguson in the 1980s.
Huh.
It's interesting. And then Massey Ferguson spun off the combine division into Massey Combine, yada, yada. And then somehow it says here AGCO came in, purchased Massey Ferguson. So then they technically owned White combines. And now White is an AGCO brand suddenly.
And then it got phased out completely.
And then the executives took over Dutz Alice, purchased the White. Huh.
Really?
So the White New Idea Company was purchased by AGCO in 1993 from Allied, it says. And then White tractors were produced all the way up till 2001. And then was merged with AGCO Alice. Alice Gleaner Alice. Okay, whatever.
Alice Gleaner Corporation.
Alice Gleaner Corporation - Alice. That doesn't make any sense, but all right, you do you. Maybe
AGCO Alice, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a thing for a while.
Huh. Oh, wait, Dutz Alice. Dutz Alice is different
Yeah.
than Alice
So
Chalmers.
there's a story behind that too then, isn't there? Because
Yeah, Dutz Alice was a
Deutz probably
Deutz
Deutz,
Alice.
Dutz, whatever.
However you say it. There's a
Did Alice buy them or did they buy Alice?
I think Deutz bought Alice.
I was gonna say because most of the American companies were going downhill,
Oh yeah.
and then somehow like AGCO, I don't know where AGCO came from.
So I think the European. Well, it's funny. I think the European Whites were Deutz's. Deutz Fars. That's what it looks like.
Interesting. Well, it's kind of like international.
Oh, interesting.
Like International's English, or I guess
The British.
European.
Yeah.
There's still McCormick tractors over there.
McCormick.
Yeah,
You can get a brand new McCormick. What's that? The V7 or whatever.
I have no idea. What
I don't. They look goofy.
I've seen
but
them though.
They still make McCormick over there. It's under the same. If you look up McCormick online and go to their page, it's like they say that they've got this whole heritage in England from when McCormick set up shop over there and whatever. It's pretty interesting
I
stuff.
guess it was part of International.
Yeah, it was.
McCormick Deering Harvester Company.
Yep. And then that became International over here, and I guess stayed McCormick over there, but IH was selling stuff in France too as IH. So I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah, they had an English tractors that looked weird.
Yeah, they look different.
I don't know why everybody did that. It's just like make the same thing
And then ship it over there. Well,
You know what's funny?
what?
Off topic again,
we
even
go.
more than we already are.
Here we go.
Squirrel. Ford quit making tractors in the U.S. in like the 60s. They made everything in
Oh yeah,
England
they started
and
making
shipped it
everything in
here.
England and shipped it here because it was cheap.
Like
or
our
something like
TW10 was made in England.
All those
Those
most
were all
of the
made
Fords
in
up there
England.
were made in England, except the Genesis series. That's different.
Ours was made in England. Our
It's the
8260.
70 series. The 70 series. If you look up 70 series, they were made. Were they made in England too?
Ours has a big old sticker right on the side of the plastic.
Yeah, you might be right.
Made in England.
Hold on, you might be right. We're off topic, but I don't care.
We saw many, many squirrels.
No, they're built. Those ones were built in Winnipeg and Manitoba, Canada.
But they weren't built here.
They weren't built here.
Which is weird.
That's really weird to think.
But they're still good tractors.
Oh yeah, Genesis tractor is a good tractor.
I think this will be a good tractor for you guys this weight.
Oh yeah. Well, so the main attraction to the White was
It was
free air conditioning and it was free. But mostly the air conditioning compressor clutches it seized up, which surprised me, and it was already converted to run off of 134. And so I saw it in the bushes during duck hunting season when the massive weed overgrowth that was on it
Sticker bushes.
was dead. Sticker bushes, by the way. Blackberries.
You couldn't even see, I saw the picture. You couldn't even
so
see it.
I showed him a picture, and you can't now. No, obviously now we're looking at it, but when we pulled up there for the first time in a while, you couldn't even see it.
Because it was covered
It was
in...
covered, and it was growing up into the top of the roof, and it's growing up into the AC system. It was growing into the engine bay, up through the door. It was bad
everywhere.
and those bushes take over. And we were like, oh boy, this might be more of a project than we thought. And then my cousin starts hacking away. I brought the weed whacker with us. Starts hacking away at it, and the more we hack away, the more we're like, man, this tractor's in bad shape. You kind of feel bad for
The
it.
weeds protected
The
it.
weeds protected that tractor, and our weather up here doesn't.
They're like, this is mine now.
Yeah, exactly.
I am the captain of the ship now. This is mine.
This is mine. The weather up here doesn't really cause problems often with
It's
tractors.
just wet.
It's just wet, and so you can see you'll see rust and stuff up here, but
and green stuff.
the green stuff and stuff. But the green stuff tends to protect a lot of it, like the paint
Yeah.
and the interiors of our stuff up here in the Northwest are always just fine, other than this one reeked like horrible. But
that was rats.
And mice. Rats and mice, and that's a big problem over here. But we cleared the weeds out of it, and of course the story we were told was he didn't want to buy a battery for it. The owner of the tractor didn't want to buy a battery.
Park it.
For it. He just
It'll
said,
sit there for 20
years, and then guess what? It sat for several years. They said 5. It did not look like 5. It's got to be 10 at least. Just the way it looked when we rolled up there.
Maybe it was 5 from the last time he thought about how long it was.
Thought about how long it was. Even he forgot about it, and it was on his property. That's how little people think of these tractors. But we just chucked a battery, car battery, green top car battery. I'm looking at it. It's over there. Green top, interstate.
Optima?
No, interstate.
Oh. I guess green top implies interstate.
Interstate, yeah.
I don't like interstate batteries.
I don't hate them. I have them in everything I've got. They're fine.
The first truck I bought was my uncle's 66.
Oh yeah.
Had an interstate battery in it. Guess what the first thing to go wrong with that was?
The battery died?
Yep.
That's because the battery's probably old.
Shh. Don't worry about it.
We don't.
The
farmer we bought this tractor from uses batteries from 2012 and says they still hold a charge. That's not correct. Anyway, those batteries are 12 years old.
Well, no, it's more than that. My grandpa bought 3 interstate batteries. I think it was 3 at once, and within 2 years they were all replaced.
That's weird because we don't really have that. I don't know. That's weird. We have never had that kind of luck with ours.
We have a worker battery, which turned into Rayovac.
Oh yeah.
From 1980.
Huh.
Maybe 90. That's still just like it was built on a Friday. Everybody was happy
that day. So it was built good. I don't know. We don't have that much trouble with ours. We're going to buy a cheap battery, I think, for this one because it has to be a big one.
Walmart batteries.
Oh, yeah. The battery for this thing is huge. The original ones, the battery box, I mean, I can look at the battery box.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's a big battery box. Right now we have a side post car battery in it, and that didn't work. It's got 2 3/8 bolts stuck through it on the regular top post.
It's pretty farmer fix.
Yeah, it's farmer fix, all right, and it's not even fixed.
I bet it takes a lot to turn that Perkins over.
Oh, it takes more than you think. Those battery cables get hot on that battery. It's pretty bad.
I wonder why.
Well, also the connection sucks, but we don't talk about that.
2 bolts with giant washers?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Isn't that weird? It's weird how bolts don't make contact with the standard top post hold downs at all, and the washers are the only thing making contact on the battery cables.
That's awesome.
But anyway, we just stuck a jumper. We stuck a regular top post style battery on it. Stuck some jumpers on it. My cousin gets in there, pushes the clutch down, turns the key barely, just to hear it turn, and it fired up. 1 revolution, and it fired up. And it was right at that moment that I sat there. I looked at that thing run. And it was probably not even that long because we didn't really want to hurt anything. But I sat there and I went, "That must be a good tractor."
It's got to be.
There's no way. I can't look at that and go, "I don't know what I think of these whites." When that thing fired up right away
after sitting for
who knows how long,
at least 10 years. Probably.
Even better, he gets in it and he puts it into gear and lets the clutch out and it just pulls forward. Right out of the hole it was sitting in.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And right when I just saw that and I went, I think we need this.
Is that a new tire?
Yeah.
Oh, where'd you get that?
This side. You can get those on eBay.
Oh, is it used or is it brand new?
Brand new. Alliance.
How much did that run you?
That one was $724 plus shipping and taxes, probably like $880.
That's not that bad.
Those are Alliance tires, which everybody knows are the cheap tires, but they run fine for us. When you're a farmer, you get the cheap tires. This is great because back in the day, you only had your Goodyear, you had your Titan, your Firestone, and I think there was Goodyear tires too. Yeah, there was Goodyear. You had those 3 tires, and they were all super expensive, and so that always discouraged anybody from buying tires. So they ran them down to they're just about bald. Well, nowadays on eBay and stuff like that, there's options for farmers all over for cheaper alternatives.
Especially custom hay farmers like us,
for us,
who are broke all the time.
So we just go and buy the knockoff tires, and they're usually just copies. Like those are copies of BKT tires, and
you're still not supposed to punch your
microphone. Yeah, I'm not supposed to punch my mic. Those are just copies of a BKT tread, and there's people that have run those before. I've seen them on 66 series tractors and stuff like that, and they seem to run fine. And on our 66 for our big tires, we have the copies of the old Armstrong tread pattern, which was the long and shorts long tread, short tread, long tread, short tread, whatever.
Don't look at our International too close.
Why?
Because it's got 2 different tread patterns on the back.
Oh, nice. I probably don't have to look that close to see it, if I'm being honest.
No, there's a picture in my living room of it, and it's really obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a farmer thing. So back in the day when tires were all the name brand and they were all expensive, most people just ran mismatched tires.
They're still expensive.
Yeah. But even that, so Firestone tire, which is the ultimate tractor tire ever made, the Firestone 23-degree radial, will run you like $1,800 a tire, $1,500 to $1,800
But they will probably last a lot longer.
Forever. These are biases, but for hay farming up here, we're not in row crop, we're not in stubble country.
Of course, you also want to buy cheap tires because you're going to drive them on the road a lot, which wears them down faster.
Yeah. That's one of those things where radials help. If you're driving on the road a lot with your tractors, radials stay alive a lot longer. But they are a lot more expensive, so you kind of have to look at the running costs and stuff like that.
Because ag tires don't have steel belts in them.
Nope.
And they get hot, and then they start
doing weird stuff. Yeah, they don't have steel belts like most of them. Biases.
I like the ribbed, the 4-ribbed.
Yeah, those are kind of a new thing for us. We started doing that after we were buying Internationals. We started looking at pictures of them with 4-rib tires, and we're like,
it's kind of cool looking.
I like 4 ribs. And so, we started buying 4 ribs for the fronts. On 2 of our tractors have them now, 4 ribs, and they look good.
We finally had to break down and buy a new tire for our 8260 a few years ago.
Oh my god!
One of the fronts.
Yeah.
Went to pick up a haylage bale and it just went right there in the driveway. It was awesome.
The tire or the tube?
The tire.
Oh really?
I think the tire pinched the tube because there was a cut in it.
There's a cut,
and it still went around and it still held air, so we didn't do anything about it. And then I think it pinched the tube, and we had it fixed at Schwab.
Yeah.
Did it again. We had it fixed again at Schwab. It did it again, and then we had it fixed at Point S. And then we did it again. It did it again. So we're like, I guess we got to buy a new tire.
I guess it's over. Yeah, and us farmers will hold out to the last possible minute.
In the words of my grandfather, if it holds air and it still goes around, it's fine.
It's fine.
Like one of the International tires on the front. You can see the weave in it. But it still holds air and it still goes around.
He wouldn't have liked what we just did. We took off what I believe to be the original Firestones that were on this thing from the day it was sold on day one.
Yeah.
I mean, the wheels still say, so the wheel are Firestone wheels. This is what's interesting.
Really?
The wheels say Firestone 7 of 76.
Huh.
They're stamped into the wheel. The tire tubes were original Firestone tire tubes too. So expensive tubes. If you were to replace those, most people would just get a Doberman tube set. So that's what leads me to believe those tubes are original too. If you look at the Firestone tires that are now, I don't know where they are now, they still say gum dipped Firestone in the old Firestone font.
Huh.
They look like and feel like 40-year-old tires. They're solid as a rock because they're like, oh boy, they're so wore out and weather checked.
Yeah.
And the top sides of them are bad, but they still went around. They still had air. Hey, he wouldn't have liked to see what we were doing today. We took those suckers right off and put a set of cheap Alliances.
Well, sometimes you just need, especially if you're going to drive it down the road.
Yeah, that's a safety concern, especially.
That's a big tire to lose.
Yeah, you lose that tire, it could go up through the cab. It could flip the tractor over.
You'd be really likely to roll on that side.
Yeah, and this tractor's really tall, too. You could roll that thing.
I don't know. How tall do you think it is?
It's taller than... It's probably equal or taller than a 1066 with a cab, which is pretty tall.
13 feet?
Yeah.
10 feet? Somewhere in there.
I would say 11 feet. Right around in there.
11 or 12, somewhere in there.
11 or 12, yeah. You probably wouldn't be able to tow this through the trestle bridge.
Yeah, probably not.
Because it would probably hit.
Put it this way. Their shop is only about half a foot taller than it.
Yeah, it's not that much taller. There's a light fixture that is literally half a foot above the roof.
If that.
We've had big tractors in here, and they just about touch that light.
I bet.
Yeah.
Especially when that 66 has the cab on it.
Oh, yeah. When it had the cab on it, it was close. But now we've got that top.
I'm glad you told me about that one earlier.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were talking about a farm auction 1466 today, and he was thinking about looking at it.
I was thinking about buying it just because it doesn't run.
Yeah.
And I was like, why doesn't it run?
Yeah. Well, I went and looked at it on Sunday, and I forgot. I didn't know he was even considering it. I wish he would text me because I could have told him I was going there.
Well, I would have gone with you.
You could have gone with me, actually, but my dad was going there that day, and I was doing other stuff beforehand, so I didn't really have time to catch up or talk to you that day. But I did go and see it.
I try to annoy the crap out of you so I remember what's happening most of the time. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun for the two of us. If you're wondering, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, those two are really annoying to each other. Yeah, it's on purpose.
You have no idea.
You have no idea. It's way funnier in the shop and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I went and saw that 1466 in person, and boy,
pile of crap.
That thing, there's not a single panel bolt. The panels are all loose. Every single one of them.
Awesome.
They just fall right off. The starter is missing, and then we were talking to the farmer that owned it for a little bit.
Did he not want to put a battery in it either?
Oh, no, it's worse. The starter was missing for one, so it didn't have a starter. And then, second off, he told us that the guy that was running it and the guy that actually owned it, who was selling it, it just stopped one day, and he was told that the engine blew.
Kind of like your cousins one day?
Yeah, and sure enough, we looked at the dipstick, and there was like no oil on the dipstick.
Oh, that'll do it.
So I think there was some either severe blow-by that led to that, or low oil pressure, or all those are gone. He talked about doing an in-frame, but it's not even worth your time at that point. If it goes for anything more than $2,000.
Yeah, it was already up to like 13.
It's already $1,300.
I'll check.
Not even actually. Yeah, he can check right now. It's on HiBid.
I still have it open, I think.
It's a 1466 black stripe, 1 year only.
It's a pretty. I mean, that one's not pretty, but when they're painted up
nice, a black stripe is.
Wasn't that the last year of the
76? Yeah, last year.
And then they started
went to the 86 series.
But that was still a black stripe, right?
Well, no, because the 86s all had them. The 86s.
That's what I mean. They have the same.
The 86s, but they don't go up the hood anymore.
Oh,
they just go alongside. They're not as special. But actually, the 86s had their own version of the black stripe called the red stripe.
Oh, really?
So in a certain year, I don't remember if it was a year range or a certain year, where International kind of liked to do this thing where they made a special thing. I think that was kind of their. We'll make a special tractor for this year, and
I like
whatever.
I like most of them.
Yeah, and so the 86s had one where it was like a red stripe down the top between the black and white stripe. It was a pretty cool looking tractor. It's not. It doesn't go up the hood. The 66 series black stripes are probably my favorite looking tractor ever because they just have a good look.
They're pretty,
and the stripe runs up the side of the hood. And I don't know. Nothing beats them. Nothing beats them.
I'm working on it.
He's working on looking for the HiBid thing right now. I'm going to grab a water while he's doing that.
That's a good idea.
Right here. You want one?
Yes, please.
Good.
Do I have to pay for that too? No. Or is that just the Arizona?
These are on the house. You people won't know what I'm talking about, but there is a Arizona iced tea fridge right behind me. It is fully stocked all the time. And you have to pay to get those teas.
There we are.
If you two are an Arizona tea connoisseur and you want to know, $13.50 still?
It's not even
here's
worth,
my thinking.
It's not even worth that.
It's not even worth that. It's not even worth your time. Here's my thinking, right?
You have my attention.
I think that the people that were bidding that tractor up, went there on
Saturday.
Hadn't seen it? Yeah, hadn't seen it. Went there on Saturday or
some
Sunday.
Poor guy's
on the
get
preview.
Stuck with it.
And they went there. They went there on Saturday or Sunday, those people, and saw it for the first time.
Now they're just hoping somebody outbids them.
And quit bidding right there on the spot. Because it was really weird how before then the bids started clocking up. It started at like a $10 bid. Started racking up real quick. Got to $13.50. The day of the previews came along. The bids quit.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how that works?
It's funny how that works. Because in the pictures, when we first saw it, we were like, "Oh yeah, that's a $4,000 tractor, $5,000 tractor." Mm-hmm. That's what my dad and I thought. Because my dad was going to buy it because that's the tractor he wants. It's the dream. His dream tractor is a 1466 black stripe. Always has been.
That's a pretty tractor.
Mm-hmm. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's a $4,000 tractor easily." We show up and we're like, "No, that's like a $1,200 tractor,
if that.
If that,
it's maybe like $1,000 even or $500.
Oh yeah, and like the farmer hit it he hit it right on the head of the nail when he said, "Yeah, that's a collectible, so people will be wanting it." But I was like, "Yeah, I don't know about that one."
maybe the others.
He's right about the collectible part, but he's not right about the.
I don't know how you do that though. I guess running it out of oil is pretty good.
Yeah, well, I think it must have had a bunch of blow-by or something and burned it all, or they weren't washing it, or it's pretty easy. They all have, when they're good runners, they all have 75 pounds of oil pressure at PTO or RPM all the time. Huh. Never anything less. They're maxed out on the gauge all the time when they're healthy. So it's pretty easy to tell
when they have a lot of blow-by.
When they have healthy. And then I bet you it was going down, then all of a sudden the oil pressure went to zero. He wasn't paying attention, and it just died.
That's painful.
Which just sucks because those have a really good engine, the DT436, which is what those have. It's a very good engine.
International made good equipment.
Mm-hmm. Made anything, tractors, farm equipment, didn't matter.
I guess the new ones aren't that bad, but
What?
new
Case?
tractors, CNH tractors.
I like CNH's stuff. I like the Magnum series, but nobody over here is going to have a Magnum. The Magnum.
There's no case dealer.
No.
Nowhere. I mean,
Which is sad because.
it's up in Linden. That's about it.
That's sad.
Farmers Equipment Company.
Yeah,
That's the only one.
really. That's
They're not even a
Well, that's why.
full-time case dealer.
Yeah, and like Eastern Washington doesn't have any case tractors out there.
Mm-mm.
You would think they would. It's
The only thing we have over here is New Holland.
Yeah, and that's kind of it's the divide.
We have New Holland, John Deere. I call it Dealer Row down there.
Yeah,
on
Dealer
Hamilton
Road
Road.
down on that road by
You got Brim, which is New Holland.
Brim.
You got
Pape, which is John Deere.
Pape John Deere. You have whatever the
Jennings equipment.
which is Kubota. You have Farmhouse Tractor, which is Mahindra.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Mahindra doesn't make their own equipment; they just make tractors. Which some of them are good, some of them are.
I've
meh.
heard good and I've heard bad. It's all homeowner stuff.
That 7060 that Race Car Man has.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good tractor. It's a 70 horse 3-cylinder turbo.
Who makes that one? That's a
Mahindra.
Mahindra
Yeah,
turbo. Interesting.
70 horse.
Really?
That's what the 70 and
Is it
70,
a
60
hydro
series.
or a?
It's 3 ranges of 4 gears with a reverser,
Really?
which I like.
Cab?
No.
Okay, cab. It's a cab free. Okay, open station.
Open station. It needs a canopy. I think I'm going to build one for it
That'd be
this
good.
winter. But
Metal canopy.
yeah, it's it's all synchronized except for the ranges, obviously, because there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
But it's really nice. It's really easy to drive on the road, in the field.
Well, yeah, a lot of those homeowner style tractors are designed to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Kubotas and the Mahindras and stuff like that, they're all what I classify a homeowner's tractor. A homeowner's going to buy it. They're going to use it to maintain their property or whatever. For
That one's a little big for that.
long period of time. 70 horse is a little big. The homeowner range is probably like 25 to 50.
Mhm.
If I had to guess, 50 at the high side.
Because those are usually pretty small.
Yeah,
Like
unless
the
you have
little-
like big property out in who knows where, a 70 is probably pretty good.
Mhm.
But like a homeowner's tractor's dashboard and interior accessories are kept to a semi-minimum just so that you can focus on the work being
Yeah.
done. Kubota kept the homeowner theme all the way up till their row crop tractors, which I think is dumb. If you look,
I haven't even been in or near a Kubota.
so my
tractor that
cousin
big.
went down to the farm show a couple years ago
Yeah.
in Nebraska, and Kubota had a booth system set up, and he sat in the big ones, the new big ones,
Mhm.
and he said they felt like a homeowner tractor inside. A row crop tractor that should have all sorts of information on display, screens and everything on display for big farming operations,
Yeah.
and he said that felt like a homeowner tractor. So basically, bare minimum dash.
They just came out with their own line of hay equipment too. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
Yeah, they got a rake and a tedder and all kinds of stuff.
Mower, rake, tedder, baler,
It's all their
even
own
a bale
stuff.
wrapper.
Yeah, all
I
Kubota.
was surprised.
That I wonder what that equipment would be like.
I don't like the color. It's
Orange
obnoxious.
is obnoxious.
Maybe if it was a little darker orange, but I don't like orange that much.
Orange is kind of
I like International Red,
a. IH Red's a good color because it's
Ford blue, even the older one and that one, the Genesis series blue.
the newer blue, the dark
New
blue.
Holland blue is good too. The
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that
What?
Ford is a different blue from Ford New Holland
Mm-hmm.
and New Holland Ford,
Yeah,
and the new
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 Holland.
Holland blue is different, and
Yeah.
the reds are different too.
all the reds are different and the blues are different. If you actually look, so we actually have an example of this on the farm. We have a New Holland TS110, which a lot of people, those are a good tractor. A lot of people like those. Four-wheel drive tractor, that one is. It's got the older style Ford New Holland blue. It doesn't say Ford New Holland on it, but it has that style blue.
That blue.
Up in the shed, we have a TS100, which is in that same range of tractors, the TS series. It has the newer New Holland blue.
This is a
And they're
big
not even that
difference.
far apart in year.
Yeah.
But they have the same, like the dash, everything, all the options on them are similar, except it's a two-wheel drive. But it's got the newer New Holland blue. And the other
Is that
one
one yours?
the
The
old one.
100?
The 100 is the one that we use.
Yeah.
It's not. It was a county mower tractor.
That one.
We
the
used
one
it.
that the PTO
Yeah, the PTO stuck
clutch
on,
is stuck on
Yeah.
all the time.
and you can't get it free. Yeah,
That's awesome.
that tractor wasn't really a good one to convert. In hindsight,
Are you going to convert it back?
yeah, it was way better as a mower tractor. That's what we use it for because you don't need the PTO for that. It's hydraulic drive.
Yeah.
So
that's why the PTO's frozen.
That's why the PTO's frozen, because it was never used since the day. In fact, it still had the original PTO cap with the paint still on it, unbroken.
Nice.
On the PTO.
Well, that's what happens. County mower
tractor never uses PTO.
That's where our TW10 came from.
Yeah.
Somewhere way up north.
County mower tractor.
That's why it has calcium in the left tires.
Yeah, it's going to have weight on the opposite
side. And then it has a full rack of weights on the front, and then it has a frame in front of that, and it had another full rack of weights in front of that.
You should have seen the weight system that was on the 100.
Yeah.
It had 3 wheel weights, full calcium on the left side, plus this massive weight system for the steps. Instead of the steps, it had a weight system, and it was still on it because, again, it hadn't been converted by somebody else. It was converted by us to a tractor. So it had still the full, several thousand-pound weight system on the left side. They tried to weigh that thing down.
I believe it.
And that tractor's...
Do you still have them?
Yeah, still got the weights.
Yeah, you should just put it back.
It's fine.
Make it back to a mower tractor.
Because it doesn't have a use for the farm anymore. And
what kind of mower does it have on it? Is it just like a big brush mower?
No, boom arm. Big boom arm.
Really?
Stretches out.
Can you do branches and stuff with it?
If you really wanted to, you can bring it up.
Huh.
It's a really nice mower.
Interesting. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Well, the people that I've talked to that borrowed it in the past want it to go back to a mower tractor now. And they're really...
It's nice to know people with stuff like that.
Hey, can you really put it back to a mower tractor? I kind of need
use it.
I'm like, sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Haven't done it yet.
I need to get around to that eventually, but there's so much going on.
Well, it's right in the middle of hay season. Nothing ever gets done in hay season.
The only thing that gets done is if something breaks down, it gets fixed the next day.
Right now.
But other than that, we don't work on very many projects. Like this has been going on in the background the whole time. The white tractor is what I just pointed at, but it's slow. Normally, on our internationals, we'd have had the tires and everything done in just a week or so, but because of hay season, it's been
it kind of throws... It's like I said a couple times when we were trying to
get
together and record this.
As a matter of fact,
hay really throws a wrench in anything.
Oh yeah, easily.
Because you got to babysit it the whole time.
Yeah,
and as soon as it's ready, you got to get it done. Otherwise, it'll suck moisture out of the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so much fun.
It's annoying. Hay is very, very, like he was saying, or like we were both saying. Man, this hay guy.
He's sure needy.
He's sure needy, isn't he? But. Yeah.
That's what Race Car Man said.
Race Car Man?
He was talking about calling Captain Shorts and saying, why do we do this? It's not fun. We break stuff all the time that costs us money. It's like my grandpa always says, the only way... I did a school project once.
Yeah.
And I asked him, what's your advice for somebody getting into farming? And he said, don't.
Don't. Yeah.
That was his only advice.
Here's the thing. We're in the farming industry because we were born into it.
Yeah.
And that's the only way nowadays you can get into it. So there's a side to it.
I mean, it's not the only way, but it's very difficult to get into it any other way.
And it's one of those things where I'm grateful for that. Like being able to do this, being born into
it's a great life.
A family. It's an awesome life. So don't get the wrong idea and think, oh, it sucks. It's like
we just like
working a factory. We just like complaining when stuff goes wrong.
Yeah,
because
that's
stuff
pretty much it.
Here's the thing: stuff is gonna go wrong
constantly,
all the time.
Constantly,
it's ridiculous. It's never ending. Like our baler, as a matter of fact, this year we have an old International 445. This baler's probably seen 50,000 bales plus. Who knows? It's old. It's been around a while.
Only a long while.
This thing is pretty slap wore out. We put a cheap rattle can paint job on it a couple years ago just to try and pretend like it didn't have any problems, but oh boy, it does. It's got a lot of problems.
You can rattle can it, but they're still there.
They're still there. The problems are still there. This year we had a lot of nodder issues, which is those nodders, the McCormick nodders, same nodders they put on the old grain binders.
Really?
By the way. They're the exact same nodder. Those nodders are awesome. They're the greatest. They're, in my opinion...
Until they're wore out and sloppy.
Yeah, until they're wore out and sloppy. But those nodders, in my opinion, are the best nodders in the industry because they do what's called a loop tie. Mm-hmm. They tie a little tiny shoestring loop on the top of the bales. They don't cut anything. They don't leave any things behind. And they tie a super clean knot every single time. Except if your nodders haven't been serviced in like 4 years or like 5, yours? Like ours, they don't do that anymore. I mean, this one ties a loop knot beautifully. If you have the right hay, right temperature, right humidity outside,
it's very temperamental.
It didn't rain in the last 4 days. You know, perfect conditions. It's just right. That thing will make.
You got to give it a little kiss before you start baling.
A little kiss before you go start baling. it will
Get her
make perfect
turned on
bales.
a little bit.
It'll make perfect bales every single time.
Unless
It's not like that. And so, like, the hay is just a little bit too light or something like that.
it doesn't.
And that thing will never... It ties a great bale once, and then twice, and then 3 times. And then all of a sudden it misses 15 bales in a row. And then it goes back to tying them like that didn't happen. It's like, yeah, I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. And then you go back there and you're like, what's wrong? And there's nothing wrong. And then you do it again, and then it does it again. On the next row down, 15 bales missed, and you go and look at it, and you stop it. And then you see that it's bound up like 6 knots on the knotter fingers on its own without letting them come off the hooks.
That's awesome when that happens.
So you look at that and you go, huh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And so I take out my pocket knife, I cut it off, and I string it out, and then I keep going, it's fine. And then again, I don't know, it's random because then it'll go like 6 more rows and be like, oh man, I'm baling so good. Then you look back and there's 6 bales on the ground that don't have no string. Like,
I hate it when that happens.
my
It's
day
really
was going
annoying.
so good until that happened. But
Our spare 575.
Yeah.
I love saying that because why are you abusing that thing
I don't
today?
know. I
Oh,
can't-
jeez. Oh, now you messed it up.
hold on, there. Apparently, I can't see my microphone, so I don't know.
Apparently, you keep punching it.
Yeah.
What
Anyway,
did it ever do to you, huh?
I don't know. Like I couldn't tell you. What did your spare
Have you tried breathing?
No. Water.
What I was saying was our spare 575.
Yeah.
I love saying that because I know you want one so bad.
I know. He says so. Obviously, after that whole spiel I just went on, I really want a replacement baler, and I want it to be a New Holland because the New Hollands are the best balers ever made. Full stop.
Hands down.
Just hands down. There's people that stand behind John Deere balers. I can't do that because every bale that I've seen out of a John Deere baler around here
Ugly.
is ugly. Ugly.
I don't
the
like.
knots aren't pretty.
They just don't look good.
The
Do they still have an auger in their balers?
I'm sure they're just like the Internationals. Probably still have an auger. Yeah, so New Hollands don't have augers. They have feeder forks, and they're really good. They're like 3 forks.
Well, the bigger balers do.
Yeah.
The older ones still have that stupid thing that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that like feeder.
Not the big
rake.
long, but
Not
just
that one?
it just comes up and does this.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I know what you're
the
talking
the
about.
575s have the I think it's 2 sets.
Yeah, yours is 2 sets.
Two
The
sets of fingers.
The 5080, like in the back of the shop here, has 3 sets of fingers. Yeah,
Maybe it's 3 then.
is
Yeah.
it 3? It must be. It's got to be 3 because the 575 is the same as a 580, but it makes a 14-inch bale.
Anyway,
Yeah,
it's got the 3 sets of fingers and then the big arm on
Yeah.
the right. Yeah.
the feeder fork. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's got the 3.
Really good
Forks
system,
and then-
really low maintenance.
Yeah, and the chains, unless you like, we had one problem with ours where the chain had an issue, but other than that, it really
We
doesn't.
broke a chain on ours once and it got out of time. That was not fun.
That's not fun. That is the only thing you got to
Man.
worry about. Keeping up on your maintenance. That's what keeps.
Like in the past, I don't know, 5 years, the main 575 that my grandpa's had for
who knows
15
how
years
long
now
for, yeah,
has missed maybe 10 bales
yeah.
the whole time we've had it.
That's what makes them so good. Like our 5080, it rarely misses a bale. I mean, it's been, heck, I'd say 10 years since we've had any severe misses and issues. Knock on wood, of course. Knock on wood.
Very, very.
Because we
yeah.
still haven't baled small squares out of that baler this year yet, and that's terrifying.
You stop talking about it.
If you start in this industry, if you start saying stuff like that, you will be
Murphy's
jinxed.
Law will take
Murphy's
over.
Law will take over. And
Anything that
everything.
can go wrong will go wrong.
Oh, like
Trust
it did
me.
the beginning of this year. We're hoping that the breakdowns that we had in the beginning of this year are it, because that was a mad scramble.
What happened?
Oh,
You never told me this.
I didn't. I guess I never did tell him this. So the beginning of the year for us was a absolute
Cluster?
insane cluster. I mean, I don't even know what happened. So the beginning. So we started our main, the 110, which is like one of our main tractors for this operation for this haylage.
Air
It's the
conditioning
round
is
baler
nice, isn't
tractor.
it? Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's the round baler tractor. That's sole job. Then we use the big giant tractor for raking. I know that sounds dumb, but it makes sense to us.
Okay.
So we use the big giant tractor for raking because those super steers turn really good, and
That makes sense.
they turn good, but they also, that one works good for raking just because of the way it's geared and stuff like that. And then we
Power
flip it the other way around when it's time for small bales, because that one works pretty good on the small baler the way it's set up, and then
The 200 horse tractor.
160.
Whatever.
Anyway,
You know what I mean.
Yes.
The power shift.
it looks ridiculous when it's on the baler. I know. It's massive. Anyway. Yeah, so this year when we started, we were out of the injection pump we thought was the problem on 110.
Oh, I think I remember.
Yeah, because I went.
It was right at the end of school.
Right at the end of school, I was like, yeah.
It was like the last day.
Yeah, it was the last day, actually. It was the second to last for last day.
You were like, oh, I got to go pick up an injection pump.
I got to go home because I got an injection pump I got to go pick up. And
I thought you were talking about one of your 1066s.
No, I
one of.
Yeah, and then I texted him. I said, no, it's the 110 or whatever. I texted him back. I said, no, it's the 110. It's kind of one of our main tractors. I need to go get the pump or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I went and did that and brought it back, and it still had the same problem. Mm-hmm. And the problem was it was missing and puffing white smoke all over. And we thought it was the injection pump. So
yeah, all I heard was injection pump. What?
We took the injection pump out again. Took the pump out of the spare tractor. We'll call it the spare one because right now it's not a county mower tractor, so it's just sitting. We took the pump out of that to test it. Threw it in there. That wasn't the problem.
Oh.
So we spent a bunch of... Well, the first time we spent money, then they honored it under warranty the next time, which is good. H&H Diesel stands behind their work. Anyway.
Good for them. There's not a lot of companies that like to do that.
No, H&H is a good one. They've been around a while. But they gave us that pump back on warranty. We thought, dead serious, thought we were going to have to take that pump back because we thought that's all it could be. That's all it could be. Well, my dad took the injection line off of the number 2 cylinder one day. And this was, I'm just paraphrasing, like several months of troubleshooting. A couple months of troubleshooting. And this tractor was down for the whole first part. So we were scrambling around, hooking up rakes and stuff to random tractors, whatever we had, throwing stuff on our big 10, on the little 1066.
Yeah.
Just whatever we could do to get this hay season. Oh, we were tedding with the big 10, the turned up like 200 PTO horse 10. We were tedding with that tractor.
You should bring that to the college and put it on the PTO dyno.
That'd be cool.
When we go back to school.
I got to fix that one. It needs some head work, and it needs injectors, 6 injectors.
Oh, you mean all of them?
All of them. all 6 injectors.
Are you going to put bigger injectors in it?
No, you can do that, but that one doesn't need them. They make enough power as is. They're pretty good.
Kind of like my 6-liter.
Yeah, they make enough power as is. You don't need to put bigger ones in it. But, yeah, so we were scrambling. It was a mad dash. And then the Nebraskan corn farmer guy that my cousin works for, he came back here for his little brother's graduation. No, my cousin works for a corn farmer in Nebraska. The corn farmer came home for my cousin's little brother's graduation.
Anyway,
he was here during this whole mad dash, so it made this really fun because we were like scrambling around, and he was like trying to figure out what is going on.
Being entertained.
Yeah, being entertained by us, like running around trying to figure out what
I would have
known.
I would have come over and just sat
You could have just sat there.
Watched the chaos unfold.
Because that's what everybody else was doing. My buddy and the corn farmer and
that's what
those
happens.
two just sat there and were just watching the chaos go and unfold.
It's pretty entertaining.
It was pretty funny.
Unless you're the subject.
Unless you're the subject, yeah.
Because then it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, we were being pretty... It was pretty scary, that first season, that first start, because it was a pretty rough start.
How long was it? A month?
It was probably... The tractor problem started for 2 months ago, or a month before this started. So we didn't really have any options. The pump came back late because they were working on it and trying to figure it out. We brought it back. It was timed wrong. Anyway, a bunch of stuff happened. A month of work. Still didn't work. Still smoked out the stack. Mm-hmm. My dad cracks the number 2 injector. This is the day of the beginning of the finding of the problem.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, this is the day that it happened.
The first step to
finding the problem. He cracks the number 2 injector line and it foams.
Oh.
This is where it gets interesting.
That's weird.
It's still not the injection pump. So the other 3 are dripping fuel like normal, squirting fuel, atomizing out of the pump. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is foaming. And so we're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And so we still thought it was the pump for a while. Then we switched the pumps again. Or switched, not again, I guess. I think that was the first. Yeah, that was the first time we switched the pump. So we switched the pumps thinking it was the pump. Mm-hmm. Still foams out of the number 2 cylinder.
Was it the line?
So what we did was we had the pump out, and for some reason one of us turned the engine over. Yeah, we were turning it over to time it or something, and fuel was coming out of the number 2 injector line. When we were turning it over. It was pushing compression through the injector back down into the fuel line.
Oh, that'll do it.
On the number 2 injector.
So it was the injector?
We bought 4. That was 4 brand new CNH injectors.
I bet that was expensive.
That was those 4. We put those in there, and the number 2 injector that they sent us, brand new reman, was leaking out of the compression. Leaking compression through it. And so we took the spare injector out of the 100, shoved it in the 110, runs fine.
So there was a bad injector in the
bad injector in the batch. Well, guess what? It gets worse. There's more.
There was more than one.
There's more than one bad injector. We have to find it now because now when we're running it, it's starting to do it again. So they gave us. There could be.
Is that a common problem?
We don't know.
You should research that.
Well, you can't barely find anything on those tractors for one, and for two.
Are they too new or?
No, it's not that they're too new.
They're not very common.
They're not. I don't think they're as common as I thought they were.
They probably didn't make a lot of them then.
They're good. The people that own them love them, but there's not enough people to own them.
Is it still a Ford engine or is it Fiat?
It's a Ford. It's that 5-liter 4-cylinder Ford, big 4-cylinder turbo.
Anyway,
it's I think it's a Ford engine. Yeah, it's a Ford engine. It's yeah, so it was leaking compression, and now there's another bad injector in that batch too. So we have to. It was through Messick's. Messick's orders is like the middleman through CNH.
Which is where you buy stuff from when you don't want the 400% dealer markup.
Yeah, exactly. Buy it from Messick's if you don't want the markup.
I got a story for that.
Oh, here we go. I'll wrap up my story real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically they sent us bad injectors, and now we have to take them back through warranty and probably talk to Messick's about that. And see
awesome.
So that's always fun.
So 2 out of 4 bad right out of the box.
It could be 2. It could be 3.
Could be more.
It could be more. We don't know if all 4 are bad.
That'd be pretty disappointing.
That would be really sad.
If you bought
4 CNH reman injectors.
That's pretty sad.
And they're bad. At least we know at least one of them was bad because the number 2 was bad, and it's still doing it now because the number 2 switched out. So our plan now to finish out the season is to take the last injectors out of the spare tractor, put them in there, and just run it out for the last of the season. So we're not going to blow anything up or break anything. And then talk to Messick's about figuring this out because this is not supposed to happen.
Yeah, you think?
And
that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Those are new parts. Those are new
from the company.
The company that owns. And the worst thing is that's the only place you can find them. So if you go online and try to find them anywhere else,
what do they look like?
They're like a two bolts. Hold them in. Central connection
line
for the line and another one for the return. Back there, and they're held. And
are they mechanical?
No. Well, yeah, it's a mechanical tractor.
Mechanical pump.
It's a mechanical pump with mechanical injectors that are.
They didn't get rid of that till
it took a long. Well, because tractors didn't really need electronic injection for a long time.
They still don't. It's unnecessary.
I think the tractors, the tractors that are running modern Bosch electric pumps and stuff like that, are kind of unnecessary. But like the bigger, higher horsepower, that makes sense. Like a 400 Magnum. That's makes different. Sense. That's different. But like stuff even like we run over here. Yeah, but you can't make 400 horse.
Probably not.
For a CVT or a power shift tractor.
True.
With mechanical
But I mean
like over here,
like
our
100 horse?
Tractor, 100 horse, 150. You don't need a mechanical pump.
Like race car guys.
Race car guys, yeah. The Power Stars and stuff.
The Power Star 120. I mean, 105 PTO horse. You don't need electronic injection. That's just more crap. I mean... Maybe they have to do that to make it work with emissions because that tractor has DEF too.
Those have DEF,
which is annoying.
Yeah, that's probably why. And it's efficiency-wise too. They're probably trying to push efficiency.
The government juice.
Government juice. What Millennium Farmer calls it. Government juice and...
that's what it is.
And
there's one more thing for them to make money off of.
Yeah, and what else? Yeah, and efficiency. They're trying to probably push fuel efficiency. Which I understand.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The efficiency side, because you're trying to burn less fuel, and that's kind of
nice.
It's
like what we learned in engines class.
Yeah.
With a mechanical injection pump, you have one pop. And it's one big explosion. That's why they're so loud.
Yeah.
And then with the newer stuff, it's multiple.
And they're tuned throughout the stroke to
maximize efficiency and power.
And power all at the same time. That's why they're quieter. But, yeah.
Do you guys order parts for your mowers from CNH, or do you...
We get them through Messick's or Disc Mower Doctor.
I was going to say, that's what my story pertains to.
Disc Mower Doctor?
Yeah.
Really?
Another guy.
Another guy you know?
I don't have a nickname for him yet.
Just call him another guy.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He has 411 New Holland.
Oh, yeah.
Mower.
When they started
the little 9-foot.
Yeah.
He busted a gear.
Yeah.
And So there's 2 gears. He had my grandpa order parts because my grandpa's like a wizard when it comes to ordering parts for stuff.
Right.
Because he knows like ANI, Allstates, the Disc Mower Doctor, all of it.
We don't buy our stuff direct through ANI, but a lot of our stuff comes from ANI.
Yeah,
for
ANI sells
belts and stuff for this.
ANI sells a lot of their stuff. It's like LMC kind of.
Yeah, so Allstate's Ag Parts.
Yeah.
They use a lot of ANI products. Yeah. That's where the belts on that tractor are ANI.
But so it was 2 gears. Brim wanted. One of them was 100 and I think it was like 90, 99, whatever they do.
Yeah.
It might have been $200 from the Disc Mower Doctor, and it was $300 from Brim. So $100 markup.
$100 markup for a part you can just
get. The part from the Disc Mower Doctor was a New Holland CNH part. It's the same part. There's nothing different about it.
Yeah.
It's $100 more at the dealer.
Which
for no reason.
I don't get it.
I get it if it's shipping, but it's not that much.
It's not going to be $100 shipping for that gear.
I think it was $100 less even with the shipping.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Which is pretty sad.
Disc Mower Doctor, if you have a hay mower out there and you want to get
that's
quality CNH parts.
We're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored.
We wish we were.
All of these companies we're mentioning, not a sponsor, but maybe one day. Disc Mower Doctor, just a good tip for you guys. That's a good one.
That's a really good site.
So there's a whole box of blades over there. We bought those from them. Good price, really good price. If you go down to the farm store or whatever like that, they mark them up even there at the farm store.
Oh yeah,
because they've got an assortment.
Because they know they can.
Because they know they can.
People don't know about websites like that,
right? And especially not even just websites, but wanting them right now.
Yeah,
like if you want them right now because you're in the middle of hay season and your blades are
that's why you buy them ahead of time.
You buy them ahead of time and you're prepared. That's another thing. Big thing.
That
about
is, I will
farming.
say that about like
preparation.
Brim.
Yeah,
is you can go there and you can. Maybe you can from the website too. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
The modules. Yeah. You can buy a complete module, bearings, everything's already in it. It's ready to go
assembled
with a hub on it.
Yeah.
You just shove it in there and give them your old one as a core, and you're done.
Yeah, we're talking about a disc mower part, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a module.
Module has all the bearings and gears and everything
in it that you need already packed. Does it have a... I'm assuming you have to take the disc off and put the disc on the module.
Yeah, it just comes with a hub.
It's just the hub and
then you just stick it in there and bolt the disc to it.
Yeah.
Put the bar back together.
That's a nice thing. See, that's the nice thing about dealers that are well prepared for hay season.
But you might be able to do that on the website too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
if you went to Disc Mower Doctor or something like that, you could probably
the one gear was $100 more expensive. I think the other one was $200 more at the dealer. And then there's 2 O-rings.
Yeah.
This is a good one. You'll like this.
Oh, yeah.
One O-ring was 97 cents.
Yeah.
From the Disc Mower Doctor.
Yeah. Let me guess.
$25 from the dealer. It's like a 700% markup.
Yeah, 700% markup.
Ridiculous.
How big was the O-ring too?
I don't know how big. Probably.
Was it like a decent, like...
I don't know.
Some special diameter.
Probably. 97. New Holland likes to make a lot of their stuff a specific diameter, so you can only get it from them.
Yeah.
But people are figuring this out now.
Yeah.
And then the other O-ring was 67 cents from the Disc Mower Doctor, and it was like $5.50 from the dealer. Huh. It's like, really? You need to mark...
Wow.
It's a rubber O-ring.
It's a piece of rubber.
You don't need to mark it up that much.
No.
That's ridiculous.
That brings me back. Yeah, special size. That's another thing.
They do that all the time.
They do that all the time. We were working on that 100, right? And we had a massive leak out of the back section.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know what it was. Well, we pulled the top cover off the rear of it. There's like this little top cover over the final drive assembly, all that stuff. And it turns out there was very, very flat O-rings that have gone, very flat. And
that weren't supposed to be flat.
Yeah,
huh?
so we went to, we have like those universal O-ring kits, a couple of them up there. We went to those and we were like, what?
Yep.
What?
They don't work.
What? Yeah, no, they were the wrong size. You can't get that size.
That's one thing I hate about the way corporations work now.
Can do that.
They have enough money to where they can do that, and then they just try and screw you over because they're greedy. They want more money.
They want you to take it to the dealer.
That's exactly what they want.
That is exactly what they want.
People we can't afford that.
The worst example of that by far, and always has been.
Must be another bird in here.
Probably a bird. Anyway, yeah, the worst squirrel. The worst example of this by far, and everybody knows this now, is John Deere.
The right to repair.
The right to repair. The worst example.
The biggest explosion of
anger towards a company in the last forever, especially in the agriculture industry, was right to repair.
Because they just keep pushing the envelope further, and then
how much can we not make the farmers able to fix themselves in the field? How much can we get out of them? And then it just turns into this thing where now they have to take them to the dealer just to get a tune-up and oil change, and it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't even serve it. You can't even change the oil or change a belt or something
like
simple.
That. And it's like, oh, you gotta take it to the dealer, and it's pushing these newer, I don't know, the next generation of farmers, especially down in like the Corn Belt and stuff like that,
and like
us and like whatever, they're trying to push us out of being able to repair. They're trying to push us into being afraid to repair them, being afraid to fix them ourselves, and just give them to the guys that know.
You know what we do?
What?
We go buy older tractors that have mechanical injection pumps.
We buy tractors that you can fix yourselves. That's right. Old Internationals, old Fords. That's what we buy. There's a white right here. White, you would think, well, that's became future ag code. Wouldn't you think they'd be harder to... No, they're just as easy to repair as any other tractor.
Anything mechanical.
Mechanical.
Like you said, turn the key.
After
sitting for 10 years.
Fires right up. Do you think...
Show me a new tractor with a electronic injection and DEF.
Like a 6R or 7R John Deere sits for, I don't know, 10 years. Do you think you could walk right up to that without a laptop, without
anything,
wiring equipment or anything, any tools?
Just the key.
Just the key and a battery like jumper and fire it right up like that?
No. Absolutely not.
Because the batteries, the ECM systems and stuff like that wouldn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have any of that. All that has is a key that tells the solenoid to turn the engine over.
And that's probably... Does it have a kill switch or does it...
Oh, it's got a kill lever.
Cable?
It's got a cable.
Mm-hmm. That's the tractor's old enough to where you can shut the key off after you start it because that's the only thing the battery does.
The only thing the key does is fire it off, control the lights, and turn the alternator on.
And air conditioning.
Yeah, and air conditioning. Runs the air conditioning system too.
But there's like 3 electronic systems. That's it.
And now there's...
And then there's 15. A one-wire alternator.
Yeah, the alternator.
One wire. There's not a harness with 15 wires coming off.
It just charges the battery. That is its sole job.
And it works.
It's
very good
really
system.
Good. This one, I'm pretty sure... I just put a new one in because the old one was wore out and stuff, but... You can still get a one-wire alternator, like a Delco Remy, one-wire alternator.
Freaking GM parts.
Yeah, well, every tractor maker ever still uses them. It's not Delco. Delco Remy makes the starters. AC Delco is what it's now. But the Delco Remy company makes the starters for all the tractors and the alternators for all the tractors. And that one's got...
It's a pretty good monopoly they got there.
Yeah, they can make... They got... That tractor has a Delco Remy starter and alternator. Both the Internationals have Delco Remy starter and alternators. All the Fords have Delco Remy alternator. I don't know. Maybe the Fords have... No, some of the Fords have Delcos. Most of them have
interesting Ford. On some of the older Ford tractors, like in the 60s and 50s. Like our 59 and our 61 have an FL1A motorcraft
oil filter.
Which is the same up until the 80s. Like my Ranger, my 86 Ranger still has an FL1A.
Yeah.
And then
the Wix number for that, I don't remember the Wix number, but that's what that 77 Ford Highboy, same filter. You look, my dad opens it and he goes, same oil filter.
Yep.
All my Ford tractors have that oil filter.
Yep. All the older Ford tractors have the FO1A oil filter. They have probably the same starter, some of them.
I'm sure.
And they have the same voltage regulator on stuff that's old enough for that.
Yeah, if it's gas. Yeah.
You just pull it out of a truck. No, diesels have it too.
Oh, well, yeah, for the alternator.
Mm-hmm.
Ballast resistor.
Generator, alternator.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Yeah.
All those.
I like one-wire alternators.
Yeah, I like
those. Are very simple.
That was a Delco thing. One-wire was a Delco.
Our gas tractor has a 6-volt charging system.
Oh, yeah?
And starting system, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's old enough for that.
We're going to convert it to a 12-volt one-wire.
Yeah, that's a good way to go.
Much simpler.
Delco starter, or Delco Remy, one-wire alternator is all and a 12-volt battery is all you need to do that. And then you can change out all the lights and stuff, to 12-volt, but you don't have to.
No. So you don't have that problem. Oh, it does have a light in it, I guess.
What?
This white.
What kind of, like lights?
Of course, it's already 12 volts. So
yeah, it's already 12 volts.
Anyway,
one big battery.
My brain went off.
Well, you know the 1066s have 2 6-volts wired in series to make 12 volts. Works.
More cranking amps that way, right?
Yeah, a lot more cranking amps. They get. I think that one adds up to like 1200 or something like that.
That's a lot.
It needs it too. That engine's big. It's a 7.1 liter, which is not as big as like a 460, but in diesel, 7.1 liters, like a 7.3 or something like that. It's a lot to turn.
Well, yeah, because diesels have like twice the compression.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
those internationals are heavy too, like steel. They have steel top pistons and everything, so they're hefty.
That's why they last so long.
Oh yeah, steel top pistons and liners. That's what they have. You can do a liner job. Everything's super easy to do. And we're approaching the end of the pod. This
hour and a half already?
It has flown by.
That does not feel like an hour and a half.
No,
I have some updates.
Okay, updates.
Keep talking. I got to pull them up real quick.
He's got updates. He's going to pull this up real quick. But again, this has been the Old Souls Podcast. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to like. It's all free.
We didn't research that.
What?
How big Briarwood is.
Oh, Briarwood.
Look it up. Whip it up while I'm working on this.
But yeah, it has been a great podcast episode. Hopefully we get these 2 episodes out. I want to get the first one out this week, second one out the following week,
and then maybe actually record a
third one after that.
Supposed to.
Hay will be my hay. My hay will be slowing down by that time.
Mine probably won't.
No.
But I will squeeze it in somewhere.
My hay will slow down. I'm saying that the hay here won't. The hay here is going to ramp up for second and third, but
we'll squeeze it in.
We'll squeeze it in somewhere. Yeah, let me pull up Briarwood.
Wow, excuse me. That was a good one.
Briarwood.
Okay, so the last podcast I talk about where they released the pocket gophers.
Yeah, that's right.
Was not at the county shop. It was at one of the gopher preserves that's around us, and that happened.
They
all
have
of the birds
gopher preserves.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Did I not tell you about that? I thought I told you about that.
Huh.
So that big housing development, on what road is that? 93rd. Up there. If you go to the end of Tilley Road, where you're looking at the airport and turn right.
Yeah.
You go, I don't know, a couple minutes down the road. That big open field is no longer a big open field. There's like 170 houses there.
Really? Okay.
So Kaufman Construction, the company that built all of those, bought a field. I don't know how big it is, but that's their gopher preserve.
Really? And that's where they...
So, because of the stupid laws, the gopher preserve is nowhere near the housing development. They just had to buy a piece of land to make it okay. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? That's stupid.
Welcome to...
So, yeah, they were not released at the county shop. They were released at one of the other gopher preserves. That's one of my corrections. The strip of land down the middle of our field is 200 feet, not 400 feet.
Okay, that's
still devalues the land just as much.
Just as much, yeah.
We mentioned the price of eggs in the last.
Yes.
It's not per carton. It is per dozen. Or per egg. It's per dozen. $2 to $3 per dozen, not per egg. We were wrong about that.
We were wrong about that, okay.
Which is still a lot, considering it's an egg.
It's an egg. It comes from a chicken. Chickens make them a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Your turn. How big's Briarwood?
Briarwood, right. What I could find was that Briarwood's been in business for 25 years.
Really?
That's what I found. And then it says they opened a Better Business Bureau file in 2013, but they've been in business for 25 years, January 1st of 1999. But it doesn't say the size anywhere. Oh, wait.
Oh.
Here we go.
Did you find it?
What do we got? Oh, no, that's Briarwood Farms, Missouri. Or not Missouri, Minnesota.
That's the wrong state.
Chicken Egg Farm, located off 19210 County Line Road, Southwest Oakville, Washington. Open and operating. What I can tell from the pictures and what I can't really. It's a decent size.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It doesn't say what size it is because nobody reports that, but yeah, it's Chicken Egg Farm. They were the one that they gave Captain Shorts his chicken manure. Is that right?
I don't know if he's got it yet. He's trying to find somebody to haul it.
Oh, right. Okay. So he was getting that.
Oh, yeah. We were going to talk about my 6-liter, too.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let's wrap up.
Podcast.
Wrap up the podcast as we usually do.
3 weeks ago, when we recorded the last podcast, it was still in pieces in the shop. Now I finally got it done.
It drove here.
It runs flawlessly now. Starts amazing.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because it always stumbled over itself when it was first started, no matter what temperature it was, for a couple seconds.
I remember that.
Even when my grandpa owned it, my other grandpa.
Wow. So it's been a problem for a while. Probably.
It's been a problem for probably 100,000 miles.
Yeah. Okay. So
and now it's gone.
It's all fixed. He put injectors in it. He did a bunch of work to it.
Hopefully it stays.
Knock on wood. It should stay that way. It's fine.
It's. I mean, the turbo's new. It's had an H-pop done.
Yeah.
I don't know about the low pressure oil pump, but it's had oil changes every 5,000 miles.
Yeah, it's gonna
additives.
The thing with 6 liters is
they get a really bad reputation.
They get a worse reputation than
they're not that bad.
My cousin owns one. It's fine. I mean,
you got to put a little money.
You put a little money into them, and that's what they're known for.
But they pull like crazy.
And they're a good truck. They last a while if you take care of them, and I think that's the biggest problem. Teenagers go out and buy them, rot on them, and then break them, and then they say, "Oh, these are the worst trucks ever."
That's the thing with anything now is like people just expect to be able.
I missed.
You missed horrifically bad.
Yeah, that was bad.
Anyway.
Yeah.
People expect to be able to just go beat the crap out of stuff and not take care of it, and that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. You got to take care of it.
If you take care of it, it will take care of you.
Yeah.
That's cheesy, but
it's true.
It's very true.
It's 100% true. You cannot. You have to take care of your rigs. The best way to do that.
Regular
maintenance schedule with regular oil changes, regular fuel filter changes, additives in everything, fuel and oil.
Especially like the 6 liters and 7.3s were the Arch Oil additives. Yeah. Those are the best for Huey injectors.
For me, for my standardized stuff and stuff like these tractors, I'm always putting Lucas Oil fuel additives in mine, and I'm always putting Lucas Oil additives in mine. It's just how it's always been because it's universal. I can put it in whatever I want to.
Yeah.
I could put that fuel additive in that Jeep, as a matter of fact, if I really wanted to.
That's the nice thing about it.
It goes in everything. It doesn't matter, and it keeps the fuel healthy. So, just take care of your stuff. As usual, we're going to end the podcast off with the projects we're working on currently. As he just said, he just wrapped up his 6-liter.
Finally.
Currently, I'm wrapping up this white tractor that's sitting beside me.
You're not wrapping it up.
No. Actually,
you got a long ways to go.
I got a while to go. I got to put a tire on. This tractor's got to be ready for hay season. Again.
This year?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to try and get it ready for second or third cutting.
Okay.
It's going to be tight.
I'm going to hold you to that.
You better not.
And I'm going to tell everybody, all of the 2 people that are going to watch this, that you didn't make it if you don't.
Yeah, if I don't make it, you heard it here first.
That's
folks.
why I don't put timelines on anything.
No, but I do want to get it done before at least third cutting, which is going to be a while anyway. So, yeah, I just want another tractor.
It's a nice looking tractor.
I will give it that.
It looks. I like the hood ornament.
The hood ornament.
I didn't know they had that.
The hood ornament is very cool. I didn't know this one was gonna have it. I didn't know they had it, and then the fact that it has it on it still is pretty impressive. Normally those would get knocked off by branches. Oh, it has a full set of front weights too.
Oh, really?
6-pack. They can get more on there, but those ones are pretty heavy.
Suitcase?
Yeah, suitcase style.
Are you gonna put them on there, or are you gonna?
Yeah, I will.
Just for looks.
Well, yeah, for looks, but also it helps them ride better. They're a little light in the front, just like 66s, but. These tractors, I'm just wrapping it up. I already did the fuel again, maintenance. I made sure it had the original style Lucas 296 oil filters on fuel filters on it.
Really?
And I saw them and I went, "Oh, those have been on there a while."
Yeah.
I took them off and there's like a sludge in them. Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's always nice.
So yeah, I put a fresh set of.
And it ran on that.
Yeah, it ran on.
That's amazing.
This Perkins engine, man.
Perkins made a good engine.
They make a lot of good engines. We have a forklift with a Perkins in it, and it's a good.
They make a good engine.
They make a good engine. Yeah, so I just did basic maintenance to it since then. I put transmission filter. I put rear end filter. For
That'll be a nice tractor for you guys once you get it done.
I think I'm gonna like.
You don't have to paint it this year, but that'll be a winter project.
If I'm even gonna worry about that for a while, I might give it a couple years and see where she is. And
for a background story. The shop we're sitting in is covered in a red dust.
It's not even just a dust. It's just straight up paint.
Yeah.
It's on everything.
It drifted everywhere because
the lights.
This genius decided to paint a bright red tractor in here with no sheets up or anything. No. So it just everything has a red overspray on it. Oh, it's and when bad. I say everything, I mean it's everything.
Oh, everything. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. So. Yeah, everything in the shop is red, but the tractor looks.
The tractor does look really good.
That tractor looks beautiful.
We're
going to take it to the Thurston County Fair this year.
Put a picture of it in the video.
In the video somewhere
when we talk about this.
Yeah, I'll do that right at the end. Yeah. Well, I've been working on this white tractor. I've been keeping up keeping everything maintained around here pretty much.
You guys are still working on the TS 100?
The 110 is still in the works. It's fine right now
until it's not.
Until it's not. So we're probably going to throw...
I can't believe that. 2 in a row?
2.
So it's just coming back through the nozzle? And
it goes so the injectors don't close.
Oh, that's awesome.
Something in them is sticking open and it's pushing compression.
Somebody's not building something right. Mm-mm. Do you know New Holland has a big rebuild plant dedicated to Genesis engines?
Huh. That makes sense because that's a good engine.
That is I think that's that engine and the Funk transmission is what they call it.
Yeah.
The power shift behind it is, I think, a lot of people, not just me, I like them because I like Fords and I like that tractor.
I like them because they're good.
Yeah. A lot of people say that that's like the best tractor era ever made.
The Ford Genesis tractors, any series, even the 70 series was the project. It was called P138. It was kind of a secret project.
Mm-hmm.
That tractor was an ultimate. It was styled. Did you know the hood was styled by the guy that styled one of the generations of Mustangs?
No, I did not.
That's pretty interesting. That tractor was a game changer in the industry. It was It was one of the early ones with a swiveling. So your seat swivels to the side.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a console that's electronic. You push a button and it shifts to the side.
Huh.
Really neat. And then it's one of the first tractors with a hinging hood in the industry too.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that? The hood with gas struts, that was one of the first ones that could lift its own
No,
hood.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
So yeah, those tractors were a game changer to the Genesis series.
I like ours.
Engines were good.
That's probably one of the best engines ever put in a tractor.
That one's the 7.5.
I don't know what an 8260 is.
I don't know what it is either.
Non-turbo.
It's probably a 6.8 or 6.6 or something like that. Because I think it's the same engine they put in the F600.
Yeah.
Or F650 diesels.
If you bought a Ford engine.
Yeah, if you bought the Ford. If you bought the Ford, so my buddies at River have a F600 diesel with a
it's a non-turbo. It makes 107 PTO horse, I think.
Pretty good you don't need much more than that. We don't need 160 PTO. It just looks good. That's pretty much the only.
Or 200 with the one that's turned up.
Yeah, the International that's turned up, you don't need 200.
Don't beat on that thing too hard. You don't want to break the new transmission.
We're saving it. Yeah, we haven't even used it that much this year. We used it a couple times.
Didn't you use it to mow?
Yeah.
Or was that the other one?
Big mower. Yeah.
Did you? So that one has a canopy on it, right?
Yeah, looks good. Okay. Both of them do. The new one and the old one.
Does it have canopy, or did you put the cab back on the other one?
No.
Or was that the one you sold?
The one we put the cab back on so that somebody
wanted the cab on it?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, it's not that they wanted the cab on it.
It's just that you sold them together.
We sold it with the cab because it basically gave you fenders.
Oh,
that makes
sense.
That's how you keep like the mud and cow turds and stuff off your back.
That's always nice.
Yeah, that's why the first time we did the rebuild, the nice one.
That's why my grandpa wants an 86 because the cabs are nicer because it's more modern.
They're way better.
Well, yeah, on the 66, it's just like something.
It's a metal box.
They
right
set on top
head.
of everything.
Yeah, it's really not that good.
And it turns into an oven.
Yeah, you have to have the AC ones, and even then, the AC in those didn't work as good as that.
Hopefully that will work.
White Tractor. Apparently, their AC systems are pretty good. I think.
Been researching that.
The Fords and the 86 series tractors have really good AC. Those ones I think are pretty good. They have 3 electric condenser fans at the back of the tractor. If you look down on the top, you can see an array of fans.
Interesting.
In the top of the condenser. I think
that's kind of cool.
Pretty good AC system. But anyway, yeah, I've been working on that off and on, and working on all sorts of stuff. TS, whatever comes in the shop, I have to work on.
You guys are pretty much done with your International now, aren't you?
Yeah, other than the fact that I'm going to have to tear it down again. It sucks.
The engine?
Right after, we spent all this money on the transmission. The engine still needs work.
You should have just taken the engine out of my uncle's because it ran like
a top. And the new one runs like a top too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, I forgot you guys bought another one.
Yeah, the one that says number 3 on the hood because it's the third. That was total chance. We bought another one, and it's the third 1066 we've ever owned, and it happens to be number 3.
Didn't your dad buy that?
Yeah, it's his tractor. It's his baby. That thing is.
Is it painted up nice?
No, it's just good tractor.
Mechanically sound.
It's so.
Why didn't you keep the other one?
Well, because
that wasn't
ours.
But he wanted that, so
he wanted that one just so he could have an International and say that he has one. Well, he fell in love with it afterwards. So
I'm sure it's International.
His tractor. Yeah, that one we use. That one.
I would like an 86 series. That'd be nice. Tractor. The black stripe 66s with the cab, the stripe that continues onto the cab, those don't look bad.
They look pretty good.
But the cab on the other ones, I don't like the square corners on the 66s.
No, the 66s have that weird slanted cab, and they don't look that good.
And the air conditioning unit, if it has it, is just kind of there.
Hanging off the back.
They're just like, we'll just put this here.
And I don't even know if they worked that.
It was like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like, oh, crap, we got to put air conditioning somewhere.
Yeah, somebody's probably going to want that.
Yeah.
And yeah, when they made the 86s, it's all integrated into the roof. My cousin in Nebraska, he's got a lot of tractors now. He bought an 86, 1086, or no, 1486.
That's a big tractor.
It's a cool tractor. It's a nice one.
I bet.
He buffed it recently, and I think it's original paint probably, and it looks good.
It's good.
That one, he was showing me all the quirks and stuff on it, and it has the AC system's completely integrated in the roof. It's not just an afterthought set on there like this.
Somebody was like, maybe we should make this nicer looking.
Yeah, they were like,
Well, yeah, because the cab on a 66 series is just a kind of metal box. They were like, we'll just put this here.
Because the open stations came first. Back in the early days,
nobody had cabs.
Yeah, they didn't have cabs, and the ones that were cabs, they were aftermarket cabs. They were year-rounds, and those were a decent-looking cab. I like the year-round cabs.
And then the International's like, maybe we should do this.
Maybe we should make our own cabs. Maybe we'd make more money that way. And they did make their own cabs, and they sold a lot of them over here with cabs.
They weren't that bad looking, but I mean, they're not great.
They're not great.
Maybe when they were new and the air conditioning worked,
and the paint was fresh on the cabs and stuff.
The only ones I like are the black stripe cabs.
Yeah, the black
stripe because they're
cabs.
red.
I like the red cab. Like the red cab standard ones don't look bad either.
Yeah,
a red cab means it's AC too.
Oh really?
Yeah. White cabs didn't have AC. Red cabs.
He's had AC.
His was a red cab.
Yeah.
If you look underneath the paint.
Was it?
Yeah.
Somebody painted it white?
If you look underneath the paint, it was a red cab. The door was a red cab, too, on the right side. Because the red cabs don't have lower windows. Did you notice how it didn't have a lower window on the right side?
No.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That was a red cab. That's why it has AC.
There's a bird over there in the corner.
Oh, nice. But yeah,
anyway,
that's how you
squirrel.
know. White cab was no AC because it had more windows and was white, so it stayed cooler. It's still a greenhouse. And then the red cabs had AC.
Less windows
because they didn't have the lower windows.
Weird. I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Well, you learned something.
And then when they went to the black stripe, that lower window already wasn't there, so they just put a stripe down the cab.
That's cool.
So
I never knew that. That's interesting.
Yeah, if you want to know which ones had AC and which ones didn't, just look at the cab color.
And then the 86 was an actual, like the hood stopped.
It's a real cab. The hood stopped underneath. The fuel tank was relocated to the back. It makes sense, kind of a tractor.
They like their fuel. They like their fuel tanks in the back there.
Yeah, I like the 86 fuel tank in the back. They did the 66 series. The fuel tank is mounted up in the top.
Yeah,
just like this one, and it's kind of a pain to get to. But 46 gallons is no joke.
Yeah, I like the TW10. It has one saddle tank on I think it's on the driver's side.
Yeah,
and then it has one up top.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like
and
this
it
one.
Draws out of the bottom tank.
Yeah,
and they just feed
just like this one. Saddle tank on the side.
It's nice to get to because it has a little platform that you can stand on to put fuel in it.
Same with this one.
And then
that's what's nice. The whites are built kind of like the Fords in that way. They have the saddle tank on the side with the steps. Steps are on the saddle tank.
Saddle tank's on this side.
Saddle tank's on this side. You step up and you can fill the top tank and then fill the bottom tank. It draws through the bottom tank though. It draws.
Which you might as well just fill the top tank.
You just fill the top tank and it's fine.
I mean, if that one's like half or something, you could start there and then it takes less time. Anyway.
Yeah, saddle tanks.
And then the newer Fords, they have the one giant saddle tank, like our 8260, and I'm sure that one, the 70 series, has one big, I think it's like 40 or 60 gallons on ours.
Side. Yeah, it's a big tank on ours.
It goes way back under the axle and everything, and it takes forever to fill up because it has to bubble up. Because there's like a horseshoe in the middle of it.
Yeah, because it goes up over the axle. Ours, it's just a big tank in the front, right there. You can see it. You walk up to it. It's right on that side. Big tank.
I mean, any one of them's nice. Like on the TW10, the lower tank, you can unpin it and fold it down to get to stuff if you need to.
That's nice. Huh. Because that's back when they thought about serviceability.
When they thought about not screwing over mechanics.
When they thought about farmers who are going to work on their tractors, they were like, here, we'll add this. It's like the 110 or whatever. They have fold away, like the steps, you unpin them and they fold up out of the way to get to your battery trays and fuel tanks and stuff.
Like, yeah, that's another thing on the TW10. The battery tray is under the passenger side steps.
Yeah, same on the 110s.
So it's like one of those, just a clip where you fold it and then take the hook off.
Oh.
You just undo that and then it folds out from under the cab so you can get the battery out.
Huh. Yeah, it's similar because those are the same way, passenger side tank or
battery's right here on the passenger
and it's
side.
a hitch receiver on that side.
Really?
One of them's the driver's side's a hitch receiver and the other side's a foldaway. It's interesting.
They're very serviceable.
Oh yeah,
very easy.
Back at the early Fords,
when they actually cared.
The early New Hollands even had very, very serviceable features. But then they went away from that, obviously. But
we got off on a tangent. We were talking about projects.
Yeah, we're just ending on projects. He had that 6-liter, whatever. I had a bunch of stuff that I was doing in hand, and we both had hand. And
we've got the 6000 that we need to work on.
Oh yeah, you gotta get that.
It doesn't move.
Yeah.
It moves in like 9th and 10th, which is the two highest cues.
Yeah, the two probably has Sprag clutches there, so you have your lock. It locks them in or something like that. I know that on the TAs, TA tractors, like a 66 series, they have a Sprag gear in second. So without failure, if you have a total torque amplifier failure, the tractor will always move in second because it locks itself.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
It's the
They probably did that on
it's a
purpose.
safety thing, yeah.
So it
but
actually
also,
moves.
it turns out the torque amplifiers fail often enough that is used.
Oh, good.
Yeah. That's why you put it in a stage something or other. Ours is like a stage, I don't remember, 2 or something. Torque amplifier.
Better one.
Better one. You always put a better one in, then you took it out.
It's one of those things that they cheaped out on in the late 70s.
I'm sure it was. It's a good, really good, like, utility, being able to split your gears in half.
But it wears out.
But it does wear out after 6,000 hours.
That's one of the things we had to do to our TW10.
Well, the dual power?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was aerating with it one night. And I
Yeah.
just went to, and it was like, nothing's happening. What?
Huh.
And then like 3 hours later, I was still out there, and then I did it, and it did it once. Like the clutches just grabbed for no reason. And then I did it again, and it was just not there. The high side went out.
Huh. Oh, the high side goes out. It's
Yeah, and we
interesting.
took the clutch pack apart, and it's like, metal disc, friction disc. There was like metal disc, metal disc,
Oh,
metal
they're
disc,
all
metal
metal
disc. Somewhat of a friction disc, metal disc, metal disc.
That's
There was no
interesting.
friction material left.
Yeah, you probably need to fix that.
Oh, and the PTO clutch. So on a Ford, at least of that era,
Yeah.
the PTO clutch is like a brake, disc brake ring on the inside. That ring was in 2 pieces on the bottom of the transmission. Like, that's why the PTO brake doesn't work anymore.
PTO brake doesn't work
Because on a Ford, when you shut the PTO off, the brake grabs.
Yeah,
and
instantly.
it stops, like, right now.
right now. Yeah.
And that's probably why it broke, because it was
Yeah, it stopped
something heavy that
It was
doesn't
probably
like to stop right away.
Trying to think. Mowers have clutches.
Baylors do too. But
Baylors do too, but there's probably something that like a
Something.
brush hog or something like that.
could have been when it was a county tractor, because I don't know if
yeah.
it's ever worked or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just took that apart and we're like, oh, that's why it doesn't work.
There it is. Yeah.
It's not worth fixing.
That's interesting that the high side went out because on a 66 series usually it's only the low side that can go out. You put it in direct and it will always drive.
Huh.
It's weird. Well, it's because the torque, it works different. Instead of overdriving, I wonder if dual power overdrives.
I don't know.
I don't think it does. Because the torque amplifier only underdrives. That's its only job.
Really?
Is when you pull it into the TA slot from direct,
It's low.
It's underdriven. You push it into high,
It's direct.
That's direct drive. So
I
don't know. The low
That's a good
side, the
question.
low side always fails on those. That's the weak point.
It might be the opposite on a Ford then.
In the Ford, the high side.
The
fails.
high
Maybe
side-
the high side's overdrive and the low's direct, but
Maybe.
that doesn't make much sense.
I don't know. Either way, it's got 16 gears.
Yeah,
Forward.
like it's like 50/30. It's got 16 gears because it's got low and high and your force main, and then you got your dual power. So yeah,
Works good when it works.
oh yeah, dual power is good.
I like that one because
good
it's
one.
mechanical. The pedal is connected to a valve.
Yeah.
The valve moves up and down with the pedal.
I wonder then if you have to run it because on international guys, for like hardcore international guys with torque amplifiers, you cannot do this. You cannot slow.
You have to.
You have to just like you know how they went to a switch on the dual powers. There's a reason they did that, and that's
Because
for
people were burning
people
them out.
were and burning them in. Can't do that.
Well, pedals are better for that too because you have 2 options and you step on it and it goes
Yeah.
quick.
yeah,
That makes sense. I was going to say something about that. Like, Captain Shorts, his 7710 has dual power, and it's a solenoid.
Yeah.
You click it.
Yeah,
and
click
it moves.
and it goes. That's what that one has, and there's a reason they went to that. That's a 95. They went to that because I'm sure people were burning them out and complaining. Like that's what happens on the 66. Is like dairy farmers and stuff are not knowing how to run them. Just go like this, and it burns the TA out in between TA and direct. And then that's what kills them so fast.
Interesting.
I've heard stories that torque amplifiers will never go out if you treat them right. If you just chuck them into
like you're supposed to.
When you throw them into low, you throw them into low, and when you throw them into high, you throw them into high.
Did they ever come out with a solenoid for that, or was it always a lever?
No, they went to a cable after that, actually, in the 86.
How does that work?
86 has a cable. It's a TA cable, and instead of the just direct link with rods, it's a little knob. And it's a really short throw, so you can go faster. A little short throw mechanical cable.
Interesting.
But I guess the people have problems with those breaking, so you just order extras and it's fine. But I don't know.
Good to know.
I think they went to.
I was gonna say maybe you could.
I don't think they ever went to Electric Internationals.
Retrofit like a Ford solenoid or something.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
It would be hard,
because the plunger has to go like that far on the top of the MCV. It has to go.
Yeah, it's not that far on a Ford.
It's probably only like that far on a Ford. Because on these, it's like this far. Probably about the same then.
Maybe.
Because I don't know how you'd do that, though. You could probably do it, and it'd be just fine.
If you figure out a way. It'd be a lot of work, but then you could start doing that and maybe make some money.
Make some retrofit kits.
So, I mean, you'd probably have less TA failures that way.
Yeah, as long as it's instant, and that's what they want. That's what a TA needs.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Instant engagement. So, yeah.
Good to know.
That might be a good idea. Do a solenoid retrofit kit. Well, anyways.
Figure out a way to do it at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways,
this has been the Old Souls Podcast.
Yep.
I'm glad you could join us. It's almost
Wyatt and Wes.
Yeah, Wyatt and Wes, the two W's. It's almost racking up on 2 hours now.
Really?
Yeah.
It did not feel like that.
No, it did not.
I mean, my ass feels like that because I've been sitting in this chair forever.
Yeah, and I've been sitting on this wooden box. So imagine how I feel right now.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I imagine it hurts.
It kind of. I sit on this box a lot in here, so I'm kind of used to it by now. But
anyway,
this has been the Old Souls Podcast. I hope you guys will enjoy. And
hopefully somebody will watch it.
Subscribe.
Or watch it. Listen to it.
Listen to it.
You know what I meant.
Listen to it. Listen to it while you're doing stuff. It doesn't matter. Just
background noise.
Hang out with us. We're basically just
tell your friends. Maybe maybe subscribe. We'd appreciate it.
Basically like two old timers just sitting in the living room, just chatting. And you can have us on the Old Souls, just sitting there chatting in the living room, sitting in a rocking chair or something like that. You can listen to us while you're in the kitchen. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
What are we going to talk about next week?
Next week, I think we'll just cover whatever comes up, because there's like this week we've been talking. It was all tractor talk.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. I like that.
Stuff
breaking, tractor talk, just general history and stuff like that. That's probably what we'll cover next week. But stuff will happen within this week and next week.
That's true.
Just like it did within the last 3 weeks. There was a lot to talk about, so that's why it was 2 hours long. But just a week, probably.
Hopefully, it won't be 3 weeks this time.
Yeah,
hopefully it'll be next week.
Another week. And there's plenty of stuff that happens within a week. So.
Oh yeah,
on the farm for sure.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this has been the Old Souls Podcast.
Yep.
Take care and
like and subscribe.
Subscribe. It's free.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate you listening if you stayed this long, and yeah. See you guys.
See you hopefully next week.